Okay, happy Sunday. Sunday fun day. Oh, my music's too loud. Um, all right, so on Friday, I finally caved and bought some oil paints. Been toying with the notion of testing out oil paints for like close to 2 years. So I picked up starter set of Winsor Newton artisan water mixable oils because I don't want to use any um, um, I don't want to use any solvents or chemicals and stuff like that because I don't want to die. So the idea here is that these are you don't need to use any chemicals with them. Even though a couple of the paints have toxic warnings, like the cerulean blue and the titanium white have this. I guess don't feed it to fish. Um, but I did a 5x7 the other day. It's in a drawer drying because the stuff apparently takes a while to dry. But let that dry for a couple of days. See if I can varnish it. Also figure out what kind of varnish to use. But in the meantime, I'm going to try to do a sketch card working smaller with oils and see how that works out. So I did a quick Kirby style red skull and a turtleneck. Um, it's in an MCCW blank. Masked it off, filled in the black with just acrylic to give me a nice, quick, flat background. I have my paints. I have some water. I have a Tupperware dish that I painted the back neutral gray. I saw somewhere in a tutorial to use to use gray as the background on mixing your paints. It'll give you more accurate presentation of what it looks like. And I bought some new brushes so I can use these only for the oils and sell the cheap stuff because I only buy cheap supplies. So let me see. This is small, so I'm going to have to work with the smaller brushes, I guess. The point of water soluble, or my understanding of it, because I'm figuring this out as I'm going along, is that you can actually use water to dilute the oils instead of all the mediums and whatnot. So I'm gonna mix some colors first. I'm gonna start with some cadmium red. That should be enough. I'll use that. I'm gonna need some black, but probably just a touch. Let's put that over here. I don't think I don't need any white right away, but I am going to want to darken my blues, my red for purple. So I'll lay down some of this French ultramarine. And I haven't checked the hue on this. This is the burnt sienna. Let's get some of that. It's a lot of oil. I guess that's expected considering it's oil paints. And I want an abused brush to mix. I should probably use a palette knife. Let's use a palette knife. Let's be all fancy. So let's grab some red. It's going to be my base red. Add a touch of the blue here. It's going to be my dark. And like I mentioned before, I don't really know what I'm doing. This is literally my second time using oil paints. I gotta say that these do smell a little bit like sardines. It's probably not the best lid to use as a palette. And I'll just dig right in. Hell, I don't know what I'm doing. Load up the brush and let's start blocking in some of the dark areas. I watched a crap ton of videos of people painting, so I guess I got a bit of a sense of how to start and block in the painting. And the general idea seems to be they just lay down blocks of color. They don't need to be perfect. So again, this is dark. I kind of block in the different, the various shapes and sizes. No, the various shapes and forms that are dark. Then you go with a medium, block those in. And you don't worry too much about getting the full on perfect shapes at this point. You're just blocking in color. So it's going to be lit from the top. So I'm just adding a little bit of water, and it's just making it a little bit more fluid. So it's kind of more watercolorish in terms of texture. I'm pretty sure that I'm using the wrong kind of brush for this anyways. And now that I look at it, I probably should have done a underpainting. What's up, Ken? Oh, Ken, you know what? Stick around for 10 minutes. I'll show you something. Yeah, that's a weird interpretation of Captain America. Yeah, it's I never said it's going to be Captain America. You just assume that everything's Captain America. I don't I don't know how feasible oils is going to be for sketch cards. So I guess this is why I'm trying this. There's two main factors in play. One is how long does it take, and the second one is how long does it take to dry. As opposed to acrylics, which dry to the touch very quick, like minutes. This isn't going to dry to the touch for at least a day, based on the other one I did. Which makes it very workable. But I mean, if it takes me even longer to finish a sketch card in oil, it kind of defeats my overall goal of getting faster. And the reason I opted to go for the Red Skull is because it's an organic character. I don't have to worry about symmetry. So I could just focus on the paint and not on the kind of the look of the character so much. As long as it looks like a skull and looks psychotic, I think I'm good. was actually originally thinking of doing a Spider-Man, but I don't like doing Spider-Man to begin with because of the webbing, and then having to worry about getting all of that, yeah, all the webbing done. I don't want to do that. And Venom is my go-to, but I've done Venom, so I'll I'll bring out Venom in a minute. He's just drawing, so I'm trying not to move him around too much in case there's like dust in the air or something. I don't want to get too much crap on the surface. I usually, when working with acrylics, have to be a little bit more kind of based on my workflow. Just have to be a little bit more careful with getting nice consistent cover over every over each area as I'm painting it. But with the oil, because it's not drying that quick, I don't have to. I can just kind of put, okay, here, this is going to be the medium red. Mhm. And if I don't have a perfect edge, that's fine. But yeah, definitely not using the right kind of brush. I think I need to get some proper oil brushes if I'm going to do this longer. I think it's too soft. So I'm glazing the paint on. I hope my audio works. Let me know if you can actually hear me, or am I just talking to myself? One thing that I know I'm doing wrong and I'm trying to consciously be aware of is I tend to wet the brush because that's how I work with the acrylics. I wet the brush a lot to move the paint around. I really shouldn't be using water um, to adjust the viscosity of the paint. I should just get more paint. I see this brush is working, it's already splitting. So it's not keeping the shape I want. It just makes it harder to control a bit. But at this point, so I'm just trying to get the shapes in, or the general shapes of color in. So I'm okay with it. Just gonna stay away from the water. And also, I'm pretty sure I'm not laying down enough paint on my palette to build, like to have enough paint to actually grab with the brush. That's too dark. Let's grab the dark. Let me go over some darker areas a little more. Just pushing paint. Yes. Why bother trying paint oil paints? And I mean, I've been very public and vocal about the kind of look that I'm going for with my work, and I can't imagine that I'm going to switch to oils exclusively. But I kind of need a little bit of break, try something new to kind of re-energize and rejuvenize my creative drive. I guess I don't know if that's the right word for it. It's very easy to get kind of not bored, but kind of stuck in a little bit of a monotonous relationship with your work. So I'm gonna do something different to just shake things up. Whether it works or doesn't, I guess ultimately it doesn't matter. But it's just an exercise. Where a couple of weeks ago I was doing those 60-second head sketches, which was fun, and I think I was trying to do 100 of them over a couple of days, and I definitely did more than 100. But there were fun warm ups, and I did use that type of look for some sketch cards on a set that I had to do on a tight deadline, and they came out great. Like I don't, um, I'm not knocking them in any way. They were very fun to do. Let me focus on the paint aspect a lot more than the drawing aspect, so they were a little faster. But they're just not necessarily as satisfying. I'm just gonna rinse off the brush a little bit. Okay, build up some more darks. This brush really sucks to put it away. What's funny is that, not funny, haha, but just kind of, that's funny, is the process, the painting process is kind of the same as I do for acrylics, but because the paint doesn't dry as fast, or I mean, none of this is dry. I could probably wipe it off. Let me see if I have a better brush in this new set. Let me try this one. This is flat shader. Well, it doesn't look very flat. It actually looks quite curved. It's a little better, but see, it's not a flat brush. Supposed to give you a flat edge. This is not. This is not working. Let's go to an abused round. This used to be a liner, but I abused the hell out of it. This is giving me a little bit more control over the edges. Okay, let me know if you're still there. Again, I keep on going in the water. But what I found so far that's really cool about the oils is that once you have the darks and the midtones blocked in, you got some of these white areas which don't matter, but because the paint's not dry, you can just go over and blend them into each other to get the soft edges. Whether using um, water or more paint, you have to fix that edge later. And what's cool is where's my fan brush? I thought I had a fan brush here somewhere. There it is. These fan brushes, you can very lightly fan over the work and it will blend edges by itself. It doesn't look like it's doing anything, but it is picking up paint because you see if I start scrubbing my paper towel here, it's starting to get a little bit of a red mist on it. So it is actually picking up paint. I'll go with more blue now, so I get like a really dark. There we go. Purple. I still want to keep that red feel to it. And just start adding more detail into the shadows. Because I'm using a finer brush, I can actually refine some of the edges here. And around the eyes themselves, I'm going to have to refine when I do the actual eye. There's no point trying to paint around it. I'm gonna have to hit it with a light color later, anyways. If I was doing this the way I normally paint in acrylics, I probably would have done an underpainting in black or purple. I'm gonna trip over something here. Um, Let it sit for a little bit, let that dry. Do a glaze in red, and then just start building out more layers of the darks and the midtones, and then at the end hit it with the highlights. But let everything dry in between, which is different than what I'm doing here because I can go light, dark, mid tone, whatever whatever I want depending on how dry the surface is that I'm working on. Where I think I'll probably use oils next is I'm not sure cards is maybe APs, but not on pack stuff. Um, I just have a really bad feeling that the drying time is going to be brutal. So working with tight deadlines is really not feasible because can't ship these wet. They're all going to get destroyed. But sketch covers, I'm thinking sketch cover is going to be a good candidate for oil, especially using the like masking off the cover, blocking it in like with tape, like I did here, like I did the gore a couple of weeks ago. Because then I can actually gesso the cover and not have to worry about any of the surface warping or stuff like that. Yep. Now, one thing about water soluble oils is, or I guess oils in general, if you over scrub like I did here, you're starting to pick up the paint. So I need to cover that up and make a mental note not to touch this area for a bit. Let it really soak in. But let's get that edge nice and clean. This one as well, there's a little bit of white poking through. That's where it would have been good to do a wash underneath. Tone the canvas is the process, and that is to get rid of all the white so you have um, the color base to the paint to the piece. Okay, so I don't want to touch that anymore. So let's get out of his forehead for a bit. How long has this been? 30 minutes. See, I think, and this is kind of hard to judge on this one because it's a red skull. It's an organic character. It's okay for it to be messy. I think the test, like the real test to see whether this is feasible for me to do on sketch cards, is to do the same card twice, once in oil, once in acrylic. Time it, try to render it more or less the same, as the medium allows it, or the material allows it, and see which one A looks better and B takes longer. Maybe I'll do that on a stream on the long weekend. I think there's a long weekend coming up, Easter or something, some sort of holiday. think I saw Jonathan Ruppel pop in a little earlier. Okay, let's do his sweater, and I think his sweater is traditionally green. Let's see what this. Oh, that's. I don't have a green in this set, so I'm gonna have to mix some. Othello green, blue shade. Let's see what that looks like. What this is all about. Yeah, that's hey Carovin Cork. Sorry, I can't pronounce that, or I'm pronouncing wrong. This is the Red Skull for Marvel. It's kind of Kirby inspired, like Jack Kirby style. Kar Karovni Kokurik. Hopefully, I got that right. Thanks for tuning in, though. Yeah, it is the Red Skull is the baddie from Captain America. It's just more of the. How did I end up with black here? Um, it's not really the MCU. Oh, it's in Slovak. Yeah, I'm gonna butcher it if I keep on trying it. Golly KC. So there's some red on my brush, but it's actually not. It's not too bad. It's giving me a nice little foresty feel. Tint this whole thing in a base green. Yeah, there we go. It'll be very Christmassy with the red and green. So what do you do with these paintings? I sell most of them. This is the ones that work out anyways are the ones that people want to buy. I'll sell them. Um, did I grab a white paper and put tape on it? No. So it's a blank sketch card, blast piece of cardboard, 2.5 by 3.5 inches, and yeah, I just taped it on to the paper, and you can see that here's the edge of the actual cardboard, and I put a little, I think it's 1/8 of an inch or like a 3 millimeter border with the tape. Um, it's going to give it a nice gallery style look at the end. Also, it keeps it flat the to the board. So um, I do that for pretty much everything I do because I usually work with acrylics and I work very wet, and the paper is going to warp significantly. So taping it down kind of keeps it flat. So not knowing, or this being the second time I'm using oil paints, I'm not sure how it's going to react. So I said I'm just going to stick to the way I usually do things and see what happens instead of trying to experiment too much. At this point, I'm experimenting with the actual medium, not the paper. Is this paint supposed to be transparent? Oh, there's some watering it down. It really does have a glow to it, though. Which is nice. I need to add some yellow in the mix to warm it up because it is a very cool color. All right, so let's do more darks. How do you sell these paintings? No, not at all. It is a painting because I'm using paint. It's a tiny painting. It's a sketch card size. And I'll sell them through Facebook, Instagram, various groups. Once in a while, I'll put stuff up on eBay. But yeah, just through community of collectors. Especially licensed things. I mean, this isn't licensed, and by license I mean stuff that's on official publisher stock, like the Upper Deck stuff. So if you don't know much about me, and I don't think I've seen you on my streams before, so probably not. I do sketch cards for Marvel products with Upper Deck Entertainment. So it's a very highly collectible product. So those I'll sell through the various collector communities on Facebook, and a lot of the collectors of the licensed product also like more original stuff. Oh, okay. Yeah, so trading cards are, I give you a crash course if you want. Let me see some trading cards. Trading cards are cards. They look like this. I mean, this is just a combination of different sets. Right, these are an older set. You buy them in retail stores like you would hockey cards or baseball cards, Formula One, soccer, boxing. Basically, any type of entertainment product is going to have trading cards associated with it. So people collect them. It can be a lucrative thing. I mean, a lot of people do it for as an investment because some of these cards have very high resale. If you go on eBay, you'll get an idea of what that means. But certain sets, especially the fandom-based things, so Marvel, Star Wars, DC, Star Trek, things like that, will have what's called a sketch card insert. So every so many packs, like 1 in 50 packs or 60 packs or whatever, you're going to get a sketch card. Now, this isn't mine, not my art, but this is a hand-drawn sketch that somebody did for Marvel Masterpieces 2018. So, somebody's going to get one of these. So there's a lot of artists that do the sketch cards. I'm one of them. And, my art is available in these card packs. So that's licensed. So anything that's like that, like I said, that's something that is highly collectible. And people will just purchase through various social communities. One of the cards. So let me show a card. So this is printed. This isn't. You show one that's more generic, right? So like this. Right? This is from 1994 Marvel Universe. That's Venom. So these are printed. Right? That's kind of more of a common one. You'll have different sets will have fancier things like this, like with the metallic foiling. These are rare, so they have a resale value, or speckles like that. And so these are the Marvel ones. They have them for hockey, soccer, any major sport. Um, I think I have some hockey ones too. Yeah, here's some hockey ones from. So here's some hockey ones. This is from a Canadian set that you can buy at coffee shops. Sidney Crosby, if you're a hockey fan. Yeah, like I said, there's sketches available in those packs as well. Some people like sketches. There's some people that collect sketches pretty much exclusively. Um, a sketch card, yes. So you buy a pack. Certain sets will have sketch cards in them, and depending on the set that you're buying, the hit rate, which is how common or how what's the likelihood of getting a sketch, is going to vary. So, for example, Marvel Masterpieces 2020, it was one sketch card for every box. So I think it was 12 packs in a box. One of those packs in every box included a sketch card. Certain sets, they're going to be one sketch card every pack. And some sets are going to be one sketch card every case. So it's like one at 800 or one at 12 or whatever. So it really does vary. And that's again licensed. This isn't licensed. This is just cardboard of that on that size. But um, and the quality or the quality is not necessarily the right word, but the level of detail and rendering of the sketch is going to vary from artist to artist and set to set. You also have some very well-known artists that have done or still do sketch cards, like Freddie In, Joe Jusko did sketch cards, not anymore, but he did sketch cards before. Dave Palumbo, Ariel Olivetti, Jim Lee back in the day. If you can find a Jim Lee sketch, that's good. So what makes them licensed is that you're actually, as an artist, you're contracted by the publisher. In the case of the Marvel stuff, it's Upper Deck Entertainment, and they pay you to do these cards, and it's it's stamped on the back and it's numbered and it's cataloged. So if you look at this one, right, it's an official card. It's got the hologram. It's fully printed, and only gets it from you can only get it from the set. So that's what makes it licensed. Non-licensed is just a piece of paper, really a piece of cardboard cut to this size, like this. So that's not licensed. It's yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a weird, kind of a strange dynamic and a strange industry, but there's some really cool products, and if you're a collector or fan of this kind of stuff, then that's like probably one of the only ways to get them. And like I said, the collectivity aspect of it, the resale on some of these sketch cards can be really really high, and depending on the quality, the character, the set. Yeah, I'm not much of a collector, so I mean I don't know the ins and out of it as a collectible element, but Yeah. So how does it work? So the way it works is you get contacted by Upper Deck, not Marvel, so the publisher. Um, you sign a contract to make a deal, how many cards you do, timelines, what you can and can't draw. They send you a bunch of blanks, and they already have everything printed on them. So it's the card printed, and then on one side it's blank. It's still going to have the branding, so have the logos on the front, and that's the part that you paint on or draw on. Then you do the art, and you send it back, and they'll let you know if anything isn't approved, and that's it. And you get to keep a couple of them as what they're called artist proofs. So for every so many cards that you do that get put into packs, you get to keep a certain amount of blank ones. And that's it. Do they tell you who to sketch? So most of the time, they're just gonna say, "Here's what you can't do." So there's certain characters that aren't allowed, depending on the set and the year, and then they have certain brand guidelines. So no weapons, no alcohol, no smoking, no nothing sexy, no cleavage, no blood, no violence, stuff like that. And then occasionally on some sets that are more specific, the cards themselves are going to have the character printed on it. So you're going to get, for example, there's a set called Marvel Premiere, which comes out every 2 years. So you're going to get a bunch of cards, and it's going to have a character name already printed on it. So you get them, and you say, and it's going to say, okay, this is Red Skull, this is Captain America, this is Thor, this is whatever. So you have to do that character on it. I guess technically you don't have to do that character on it. It's just recommended to do the character that's on the card, because collectors can get a little upset if they get a Spider-Man card and it has Aunt May on it. You know, process for other publishers like Tops, which has the Star Wars license, I think is more or less the same, but they request the art to look like it's more photorealistic. So they ask to basically use only certain frames from the movie or stills to do the art. Am I a big Marvel fan? I am. Um, I'm not a crazy Marvel fan. I like X Men. I grew up on the X Men. I have a soft spot for them. But I'm more of a fan of the art than the stories on the comic side. On the movies, I enjoy the movies. It's good popcorn, popping stuff. You just like to watch them. I just like to watch the movies. Stories are cool. Haven't seen Morbius yet, but based on some of the stuff I've read, I don't think I should see it. Are you a big Marvel fan? All right, let's make a better green. I really hate that green that I got, so let's throw in some yellow on my palette here. This is lemon yellow. All right. So it was originally all drawn in pencil, and I'm just filling in the colors now. So as I start painting the eyes and the mouth, which is going to be towards the end, I'm going to cover it in paint. More enjoyer. Yeah, I think that's more kind of where I fall. So I'll get to the eyes and teeth, the mouth part shortly. Just want to block in some more of the of his little sweater here. I'm gonna let more of the face dry. So I can start doing some highlights. Ah, Slovakia. Okay. Well, hello from Canada. So, yeah. Soon, maybe the next half hour, so I'm gonna have another artist hop on and chat a bit, unless he fell asleep. Oh, you're colorblind. Um, Colorblind, as in you can't see any color or only certain colors. If you feel comfortable sharing. Oh, red green colorblind. Yeah, so this is probably the worst thing to look at because it's red and green. No, I'm not going to raid anyone's stream. I don't really Twitch, so I don't do much there. Just another artist is going to hop on, and we're going to do a split screen. This is being streamed to Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. The reason I was asking about the colorblind is I have an artist friend who's also colorblind, and I think um, he's got the same combination of colors as you do, the red and green. I can't remember now, but he's an artist and he paints, so I think he just guesses the colors. Uh, no, no, no. By all means, ask questions. There's only a couple of people watching. Usually on Sundays, there aren't too many people online, so at this time of day. But I just stream because I'm working on stuff anyway. So by all means, if you have any questions, comments, pop them in. The service that I use pulls all the comments in one place, so I can see everything. I see all and know all. Not really. The only thing is Facebook comments can't see YouTube and Twitch comments and so on. But because I don't think there's too many people watching. Whoops. Okay, I need to darken this more. I used to have my colorblindness till I was almost 18. I still wonder if I handed in a red tree in elementary school. um, I yeah, I don't think it's anything to be ashamed of. Like, there's no reason. But that would be amusing. Hey, Tommy, happy Sunday, my friend. First, I was just figure out it's colorblind. Yeah, I mean, I can understand why you'd be nervous about it. Um, but yeah, I generally like to put faith in people that people are genuinely good and aren't going to discriminate in any way over anything. Yeah, but I know what you mean. The longer you're hiding something, the more important it seems for you to hide it. But I think might be overworking the sweater a little bit. I'm not crazy about the color I've ended up with. Should have done a better job mixing it, but let me get some highlights in and let it settle a bit more. It's also looking a little textured. Kind of looks like what's the word I'm looking for? Suede. It's like he's wearing a suede sweater. I think I'm gonna call this one the Red Skull is Stole Christmas because it is very Christmassy. Hmm. Do people really need to know? Right? It's kind of the other question: is does everybody need to know? All right, it's a good question. Yeah, who needs to know? All right, I'm gonna add a little white to my mixture to my palette here. Let's put it off to the side. That should be more than enough. And I'm gonna make a gray. Too much water. Just grab a touch of black. That's way more than a touch. I'm Yeah, I don't know how much I'm gonna get done. I mean, I'll do a close up. The tape isn't gonna get removed till this is dry and varnished, so that's probably gonna be a week away. Um, I'm not quite sure how long oil paint is gonna take to dry, so I'm just gonna err on the side of caution and let it just dry a long time. But then I still need to varnish it, so the tape won't come off till that's done. But I'll post I'll post a picture of it on my Instagram if you want to follow me on Instagram at Trey Studios. You can see some of the other stuff I've done. Don't have to. So right now on the eyes, I'm using gray. Um, I'm doing the top in gray because that's going to be in shadow, and then I'm gonna have to go back. Hey, Rodney. Um, the top's going to be darker, and I need to put some more white on the palette in a minute, and then the bottom's going to be lighter. And I'm going to do the same thing on the teeth, but I'm going to add a touch of yellow to the teeth so it's a little warmer. And kind of redraw the teeth in again after because I don't really have a clean line for them. And I'm not sure what color his eyes are supposed to be. I've seen blue eyes, red eyes, black eyes. If anyone has an opinion, let me know. Rainbow colored, a little too small to get into too many crazy colors. Um, and I have to stick to one. Let's get a black in. Block the teeth in. Okay, so Core Marvel Wiki's eyes are blue. Okay, thanks, Rodney. We'll go with blue eyes. How long have I spent on this painting? So 1 hour and 7 minutes. Plus, so that yeah, I started streaming painting at the beginning of the stream. The pencil sketch took like 5 minutes, and not a couple of minutes just painting the black. So call it an hour and 20 minutes. Um, I think if I can get it rendered the way I want within 2 hours, I'm gonna be happy with the time investment. But we'll see. We start adding a touch of black in the deepest shadows on his face to really start building out the volumes. So his the nostrils and the nose. Okay, so now let me find. My contract by the Marvel distributor is an individual as a company. It's a contract, so you're not an employee. So I don't work for Marvel or Upper Deck. I'm just contracted to do a job, which there's a difference legally as to what that means. I don't work for Marvel. I work for projects with Upper Deck. And Tommy says Red Skull's father, Herman, also had blue eyes. Well, there you go. I think it's clear he needs blue eyes. Scrubbing paint there. Don't want to do that. All right, so let's give him some blue eyes. Start off with a dark blue. Then I'll pick up the highlights after. Well, I was going to start with dark blue and go lighter after. But generally, the way I like to paint or render eyes is go dark and then build out the lighter shades on the inside. That way you get, I feel that they just look more realistic. Work dark to light. I do need to add a little bit more white to my palette because I made too much gray. Yeah. Sorry, I just dropped the cat. And make sure that I put the cap on the oil paints, otherwise they're going to dry out and it's going to be useless. Like a nice light gray here. Sure why this eye looks so dark, but I think I'm going to need to hit it with a little bit more blue. Let's give it a little bit more white towards the bottom. The tear duct is something that I see a lot of people forgetting to add a highlight for, and I think that that's the part that really creates or one of the most volume in the eye. It's a little bit of a hard edge. I'm just gonna blend two colors a little bit, and maybe add a touch of a darker gray under the eyebrow. Just to create more volume. Men don't cry. Yeah, men don't cry, but they still have tear ducts. I guess the Red Skull wouldn't necessarily have tear ducts, considering his face is all messed up like that. Okay, let's get more. Get this a little bit more blue. And I'm gonna mix a little bit of blue with white to get a lighter blue. It's good. And start adding. Gonna add the black of the eye at the end. And I'm just doing the lighter areas, and then the black is just gonna go on top. And then I'm gonna do the highlight. But it's starting to take some shape. I'm gonna need to take a break shortly. Let it sit a little bit more. I have to shape out the teeth separately. So I'm just adding the volume, like as if this was dentures, like just one big piece. And then I'm going to come back with a darker gray and create a little bit of the separation between the teeth. I need to, like I mentioned, I'm not loving what I did with the sweater. It's a little too Christmassy. add a little bit more darks. Try to salvage that part. So if I was working in acrylic, I would just let this dry for half an hour and then repaint the sweater. But it's kind of the drawback here on oils because it takes so long to dry. If I want to redo the sweater, I'm gonna have to wait a couple of days. All right, so let that sit. I'm just mixing a lighter red here just by tossing some yellow into the mix. It's kind of orangey. Let's see if this is too bright. Nope, I think this is going to work. I should probably go with a even more warm. We're at an hour and a half. So it's a little hard to tell in the video. But there's a nice warmth coming into the highlights from the yellow I'm adding. Just really like the way it's looking. I mean, it's borderline orange, which I don't want. So I think that's as kind of strong as I'm going to go with that. But now I'm going to throw some white in my red and really go into a pink to start doing kind of the rim lighting highlights and the main. It's like that. And that should be more, yeah, that's really showing up in the video. And this is really just, it's kind of pink now. I am going to go lighter, even lighter in a bit. Well, why is this so brush so wet? But I think this is where the oils really shine. Because up to now, I could have gotten this to look exactly the same in acrylic. Probably taken the same amount of time, maybe even quicker. Really, I think. Just a different approach. Oh, it's J5 Illustration. Let's let him in.
Yeah.
You
What are we
okay?
up to? What are we up to?
What are you doing? What's going on?
Well, I am letting your audience in on the insidious practice of light blocking,
Oh, oh, this is
or
this
known
is
by
like
its scientific or known by its professional classification, dirty rotten cheating.
you dirty, roddy cheater. This is like giving away the secrets of magicians.
Yeah. Like to see him try it though. It's not as easy as it looks.
No, I need to get a light box. Um, what are you light
It
boxing there?
it, it lightboxing, just what you said earlier, it streamlines things more than it does, as a form of cheating. I think, you still got to know what the heck you're doing.
Yeah,
And
well, it's
in
not
the
like it's
case
gonna
of something
draw
like
itself.
this, well, it does. It kind of does. But in the case of something, especially like this, to answer your second question, this is a commission of Dr. Sin, the Scarecrow of Romney Marsh, old 1970s Disney movie that is kind of a cult classic.
Can't
He was sort of a
say.
revolutionary American Revolution version of Batman.
Oh, well, okay. And that's a Disney movie.
Believe it or not, it is.
Oh,
It was made sometime, I think, in the '60s. I have to look it up. I don't really have all the details on it. I saw it when I was a kid, and I wouldn't say freaked me out. It was so inspirational. It was done very much like a superhero.
hmm.
The and it really, I mean, technically, it is a superhero, but the the character is a prominent New England doctor who is dealing with the British occupation in a New England town during the Revolution. And, them dirty redcoats are doing all kinds of nasty stuff. And he decides that he's going to become a guerrilla fighter against the British. And I'm simplifying the storyline because I was about 6 years old the last time I saw it.
And he
I'm pretty.
gets dressed up as a scarecrow.
Yeah, he decides he's going to do the Batman thing. Actually, it's right along those lines. Like he wants to come up with something that will induce a great amount of fear in the British, so that he becomes more of a legend, not just concealing his identity, but also inducing terror. Becoming almost a supernatural figure to them dirty redcoats.
Why did it
I'm
have
gonna
to
keep
be
referring
dirty?
to him as those dirty redcoats because it's so funny.
Why did it have to be dirty?
Well, it's 1770s and they're
Everyone's dirty.
occupying forces and everybody's dirty. They didn't have Coast
Uh,
Body
Are they
Wash in 1777. All right,
are they dirty or dirty?
oh, no, no, dirty. They're dirty. They're dirty. The kind of way you say dirty when you're referring to like commie.
Oh, all right. So you
And
been?
literally, it's kind of
Oh,
it's it's American propaganda. It's some of its best.
oh, I'm sure it's not teaching anyone great life lessons about how to be a better
No.
person and respect your elders or anything like that.
Yeah, or historical accuracy as far as like
Yeah,
the economic reasons Britain was involved in a colonial upheaval, and or even a humanitarian aspect of what the actual occupying British soldiers were doing, being conscripted into a war that they really want to have nothing to do with. So, I mean, we can go on.
it's like everything you never wanted to know about.
Yeah, exactly. Or you could have a guy who dresses up as a dark, scary character with a big cape and commits acts of violence on an occupying army, who happen to be wearing bright red uniforms and acting like dicks,
And had poor hygiene.
and were very dirty.
So dirty. All the dirt.
See,
And he's gone. And he's back.
who's back?
You're back.
Oh, did you
You
lose me?
blinked. Yeah, you just blinked for a second.
Oh no, that's
Did you press the
terrifying.
wrong button?
No, I'm not doing anything. Our bandwidth has been really screwy today.
Yeah.
That's not been good. Not good at all. But anyway, yeah, that's Dr. Sten, the Scarecrow of Romney Marsh. It's a pretty cool little story.
Dr. Sin. I gotta look that up. See if
Yeah,
I can-
SYN. SYN.
Oh, like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not sinful.
Not sinful, like more like synergy.
Right. All right. Have you ever tried oil paints?
Yeah.
Okay. Any tips?
Yeah, use acrylics.
All right.
They're messy as hell. They're fun, and you can do some cool shit with them, but I'm not as I don't know. I mean, if for a pro, I don't recommend them, unless you're Boris Vallejo, because he really, that guy knows how to freaking use that stuff. He also uses a lot of accelerators and dryers to mix with it.
Yeah.
And I think he works pretty thin with it, which I could see the advantage, not just because of drying time, but workability.
Yeah.
My experience with it is it's really tempted to work pretty thick and wet with the stuff because it's so much fun. Do some crazy ass blending and things, but then you're waiting 15 years for it to dry.
Yeah, the drying time is a big mystery for me right now, but
I mean, there are I forget what they call them. I think they call them. Yeah, there's media additives that you can do that'll they're more alcohol based, or they dry it out and mix it in with your pigment. It'll dry in a fraction of the time of normal. But then again, I always say what.
Sorry, one of the guys on Twitch is leaving. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your night.
See you, dude.
Wishing you luck with your piece.
A very nice guy. Wish he was sticking around.
Because you'll need that luck.
Hey, honestly though, what drove you to do oils?
I wanted to try it for the longest time. I was like, on Friday, I'm buying some oil paints.
There you go.
Let's see what the big whoop's all about.
Good plan.
And I get it. I see the appeal. I definitely don't think it's a sketch card medium.
Oh God. So I know there's a young lady that does the sketch covers with them. They
Yeah, I
look.
was saying earlier. I mean, for sketch cover, like at that size, 5'7" and up. Yeah, okay, I can
Yeah.
see that. Sketch card like this I don't know if it's like it's not taking any longer than it would have taken me in acrylic. Um,
Yeah.
it's not any
There you go.
faster really, and I
But
don't know how long
like
it's
with,
going to take this thing to dry. So
I hate to tell you, the standard rule that I was always told with oils is 2 weeks to handle, 2 years to completely dry.
now I'm using
Oh,
the water mixable oil, which is supposed to dry a lot faster.
okay.
Because God knows I'm not using. I can't bring solvent into my life and turpentine and
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
I don't need that, so that's why I went with this. But I don't have
Well,
like a
there,
point of reference.
I don't even know what to tell you there. I've never used that stuff. So, as far as the drying time on it, I don't even tell you.
Well, the one that I
About that.
finished yesterday is still like a little wet to the touch. Like I
Yeah.
have paint off on the tape on the side, and I ran my finger on it this morning, and I had paint on my finger. So I'm not gonna try touching the main surface,
Uh-huh.
but we'll see. I'll give it like a week maybe. But to do it on a sketch
Yeah.
card, that's just stupid. I think.
Well, it's adventurous. It might work. I don't think anything's stupid unless you know it's a horrible idea. You can't really find much of an application for it, but yet you stubbornly insist, I'm going to do it. Now, if you haven't really messed with it before, you don't know what the application is going to be, and damn it, you've never really messed with it to see what it would be. That's not stupid at all. That's just being an artist, and you're just trying to
Yeah,
see
but
how it's going to work.
I can't do that. I mean, this is what I'm doing here. Is like let me see, how feasible is to work in oils on a small scale, and
Right.
how long it takes to dry, blah blah blah. But is it feasible to actually do this on a set on a deadline? I don't think so.
Hell no. I'm with you. Let's see what pencil.
But I mean, it's fun. I really like the aspect of not having to blend right away. Like, okay, lay down
Hmm.
your highlights, then go with a dry brush and blend it in, and really build out those volumes.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, that's honest to God why I kind of really started getting into markers, which I didn't think would be possible. But I love that. I love how markers, they don't blend, of course, as well as oils, but you have the option of doing blending a lot more than you would with a lot of other media, and without risking destroying the piece so much. I mean, with colorless blenders and with just being just laying all the different varieties of color that you have down.
yeah,
I mean, the alcohol markers, of course, but
well, yeah, not your pharmacy Crayolas.
no, not those at all. But I do like how that works. Where and unlike oils, it's dry as soon as you put it down, and then you can go over top of it and kind of render it a little more.
And I
I mean,
haven't
that's kind of the
gotten
thing. Is
my.
the girl. Go ahead.
Just I didn't get my. I haven't been able to wrap my head around markers.
I'm just starting. I, I still don't quite get it. I know, Steve. I see what people do with them sometimes. It's insane, but
Yeah, and
I'm starting to know. Mhm.
I just
Okay.
think it's a matter like any other medium. It's just like you really need to familiarize yourself with it and understand not what you can and can't do, because I think you can do anything with
Oh
pretty
yeah,
much any medium. It's just like how to go about getting that look that you want. That's where
yeah.
all the like the learning and experimentation comes from.
Yeah, I'm with you so much on that. That's kind of my big passion is I love messing around with things that shouldn't work and getting them to work in one way. Just try to define how they would work. Really understand the nature of the stuff.
Yeah.
That one time I was taking ceramic tiles that were heavily glazed, and I was applying Sharpie marker to them, and I was taking alcohol on a brush, just a regular paint, and I was trying to create like water washes with the Sharpie using alcohol, and it was really tough to work with. I mean, nearly impossible, but it was a great learning curve because I started discovering that one of the reasons was because the Sharpies did not behave in what you would even remotely expect. Like you start to think, well, oh, it bleed the color and then the colors would bleed together a little bit, sort of like watercolor would. No,
Nothing
not even close. What ended up happening was it would strip the pigments out and sometimes even separate the pigments. So like if you put down like a regular red Sharpie, a very common red Sharpie, and you put that on a smooth media so that the alcohol would get to it real well, and then you brush the alcohol over top of it, it would, fuzz out like water, but you would get to where it would separate the magenta from the yellow. So you would have like suddenly these big puddles of yellow, and you'd be painting with almost straight magenta onto things, and it would stain like magenta. Even on the glaze, it would stain it. So I mean, and then it becomes a learning curve, just like you said, because then you start adapting, and you're like, oh, okay, now I know how to kind of work it a little bit. But it was like learning a brand new martial art. It was, oh, my hand's got to go here, my fist has got to go here, my foot's got to go here. You're like, what the hell?
They're going all Neo on it. I know Kung Fu.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of the fun thing. Is like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you'll always learn from it.
I'm gonna think maybe Gordo's gonna hop on too.
Oh,
Oh
awesome.
no, it's not. No, never mind.
Bummer.
He's got his priorities a lot of check.
How is Gordon doing? You talked to him lately?
Yeah, I've been chatting with him. Seems okay. He's like turning into a TikTok celebrity.
Seriously?
Yeah, like tens of thousands of views and comments and stuff. It's like,
whoa!
And he's keeping his clothes on.
Well, that's strange because I always wanted to see the boy naked.
Or so I think he's keeping his clothes on. I didn't watch all the videos.
So I mean, what's he doing? Just like doing live drawing demos on TikTok?
Yeah, like really simple, goofy things. Like he's got one where it's like a 30-second quick little Moon Knight sketch, and he has a title, "Let's Draw Batman." And yeah, there's lots of engagements. Some people are like, well, that's not Batman. And then some people are like, that's not Batman, that's a Joker, that's a Hulk. Like they're really playing along with it.
Yeah.
And it's great. So
now, aside from the fun point of view of it, what practical good is that?
I don't know for him. Like, I don't know what his practical application is, but for an artist, having the reach and the audience I think, can help you get some commercial work, because certain people mainly from the publicity departments are going to look for that reach. Plus, you could probably get free stuff.
Yeah.
Again, because let me pimp your product.
That sounds appealing.
Give me free meat. Give me a steak. I'll
Yeah.
draw it on TikTok. But
It can't speak for artists everywhere, but I kind of think that's something that we'd all appreciate is just free crap. It's just
yeah, everybody likes free shit.
we're all about free crap.
You want to give me
Free
something for free?
cheeseburgers? I'm on it.
Yeah.
I remember I actually still have the set too, which is wild. Number of years ago at a Comic-Con, I was invited by Tommy Castilla to hang out at a demo that he was doing with this color pencil company.
Okay.
They were trying to break into Prismacolor's market, and they were just wanting to do these like live demos of their product being used by recognized artists. And excuse me, Tommy at the time was enjoying a lot of popularity. He was kind of a convention darling, and was he was still pretty famous for doing his Batman run that he was doing. And cool dude. We all knew him, and he called me up at the convention one day, and he says, "Hey, you want to come on up? We're doing this thing, so there might be free stuff involved." Of course, he had me there, and I run up there, and this woman came in with all these sets of like pastels and color pencils, and they were nice. Came in like these metal tins, and just set them out, and had a guy there with a little digital camcorder, and we were just sitting there in the room, just drawing anything we damn well wanted. And they were just videotaping this crap, and they were going to distribute it, part of their stills literature. I doubt they used anything that was working on it.
You're just drawing boobs.
I was drunk. Honestly, I think it was Godzilla. I was like, yeah, it's got to look good. It's got to be fast. I want to do something like that too.
Speaking of boobs, are you doing the Bianca's?
The keratocolon one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got it. Actually, I was going to work on that for this, but it was going to take too long to sort everything out. So that's why I grabbed one of these commission M by 12s, because I knew I could set it up faster.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm way behind on it. I've had to play serious catch up on a lot of stuff. I told you about the pins have been taking off like crazy.
Yeah. Which is a good problem to have.
It is a good, well, yeah and no. I'm at the point where I really kind of have to turn down just about every commission that I have right now.
Oh wow.
And in some cases, I'm actually considering refunding a few people, because I don't think there's any way. And one of the ones that suffered the worst as far as time management goes was Bianca's card project. Now, I haven't said anything to her, and I'm not really backing out of it, because I remember the last time around, you can do cards fairly fast if you need to.
Yeah.
And in this case, especially since I had to get about 100 remarks done in the last couple of weeks, and the process that I was using on that is very similar to like cards. So I kind of thinking, well, if I can apply that technique, on a smaller scale on these cards, I could probably knock out a bunch of them in a very short period of time. So we'll see, but I'm gonna have to get started on it. Either tonight's kind of where I need to get started on it, or all bust. But I'm sure.
You take deposits, right, before to go on the list?
No, I do not.
Oh, you don't take deposits to go on the waiting list?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. She just she sent me the cards, and it's kind of it.
No, not for her. For commissions, I meant.
Oh.
Because you
No. They it's worse. I take either 100% or 50% up front. Yeah, deposits, I guess you could say. But yeah, it's mostly it's 100% up front. I don't. I got burned too many times. I mean, I'd love to be able to have a little more freedom, but no. I think you and I've had this conversation before, where I'm kind of militant about it. It just got burned way too many times.
Hmm. Yeah, because like I think we had this conversation. Maybe it was a Warner. Like I won't take a deposit till I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start a new piece tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? But people reaching out now. Well, I'm not taking anything anymore, but people are reaching out saying a waiting list, and like, okay,
Yeah.
you're on the waiting list. Like, do I need to send you money? And I'm like, as I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm gonna get to you in 6 months or a year. So I'd rather not hold on to your money. But
Well, I mean, it's sort of risky, but a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just let it sit in PayPal for a little while, and just see, is it going to be something that I need to worry about, or is it not? And if I take a job and I'll take a payment for it, and then I'll just kind of like see how things go over the next week or so. I'll get everything together for it,
mhm.
and if it looks like it's going to be
Pain in the ass.
problematic, yeah, real problematic, pain in the ass type thing, and I just refund them, just like, yeah, sorry, not going to work. Dude.
Yeah, I think I haven't. I mean, I've been lucky. I haven't gotten burnt. Well, I did twice, maybe, where people just backed out, but it was easy enough to get somebody else to pick it up.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I'm not taking commissions, but I'm also dealing with
Well,
people that I know.
well,
Not to,
that's fine and dandy. That's fine
but
and dandy, but I get too damn many commissions where it's things that I can't recoup a loss on. Where some guys like he wants a portrait of his wife, or he wants something like
yeah,
done
yeah,
with his
for sure.
car, and
Nobody else will
or
pay for that.
yeah, nobody's going to pay for that. And I have to cover myself somehow, and
Oh,
that's kind of
absolutely.
where I'm like, all right. I mean, if and honestly, I think I've only in my life, I think I've only refunded maybe about half a dozen times. Um, those were all difficult, but still, it was at a point where I'm like, I can't deal with this. I can't take your money, and this is the only fair thing to do. They weren't happy with me, but
It's the fair
rather,
thing to do, right?
yeah. I mean, honestly, I'd rather just disappoint them than rip them off. There's no point in it. I don't know if I
Yeah.
mentioned it to you. There's this one piece though. It's bugging the crap out of me. A fellow commissioned it a long time ago, and I had been in touch with him, and then suddenly it was like I didn't hear from him. And I had gathered everything together, and I was just like, all right, this is what I'm going to do with it. Where are we going with it? I sent him a draft of what I was working on, and I never heard from him. And I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited, and then this is one of my bad habits. I ended up losing the guy's contact information because such a span of time had taken place. So now I'm trying to get a hold of him, and I have no way of doing it. So I stopped and I went, well, if enough time passes, maybe he'll just contact me again and say, hey, where the hell's my piece?
Yeah.
Well, more time passes, and I still hear nothing. And we're talking now 2 years pretty much pass.
Did it give you money?
Yes,
Oh, well,
yes, yes. This is what's messed up about it is that, yeah, I actually had gotten paid for it. It wasn't a lot, but it was still. So, I'm thinking, what the hell? So I just keep the piece, keep everything together and just wait, figuring, wait till I hear from the guy. Well, one day I'm going through Facebook, and I, get a notification about some mail messages that are on my illustration page, the pro page.
yeah.
So I go there and I look and I said, okay, fine. And it was a couple of messages that somebody about, from a show, asking about stuff. And I'm like, okay, fine. And then suddenly I noticed there's this little like one in red sitting over on the side that I barely even noticed before. And here it was sitting in a spam filter that I didn't even realize existed on this messenger, you know.
Hmm.
So I go look it up, and it is from almost 2 years ago, and it's this guy, and he's freaking out because he hasn't heard from me, and he sent like two messages in a row, and the second one was is like, if I don't hear from you, can I at least get my money back? And
Yeah,
I'm just crushed. I'm like, oh dear God, you know. So I hurry up and message him back, and I don't hear anything again. And I tried tracking him down and everything. I mean, looking for his email, everything. And it's like he's just dropped off the face of the earth. Now, I don't know if it's just because he's mad and won't return my message and just wrote it off. I don't know. I don't know.
maybe he blocked you.
Maybe he blocked me. I mean, seriously, you know, can you blame him? But yeah, you know, that's one of those things that it just haunts me. So, you know, again, I'm just like an albatross. I'm keeping this damn piece, and you know, it just sits in my studio and it just waits. And you know, I keep thinking of other things I can just give him, just because you know I feel so horrible about it. But you know, I've messaged him probably half a dozen times since I found that message, and I have never heard from him. So, you know, what do you do?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm sure there's people, there's more than him, but you know, I just add him to the list of people who probably don't like me now.
With what was it? DHL. Um, the Geno's Pizza or whatever.
Anthony's piece. Yeah,
Anthony. Fuck Anthony.
yeah, fuck. Actually, there's a funny story. That's actually kind of a true story. If you ever talk to someone, Michelle, she'll back it up. It was one of the most horrible dining experiences we've ever had.
Uh,
Um,
Hang on a second.
they
Mark Robbie says that was me PMing address. You familiar
what?
with it? I don't know if is it Mark Robbie?
I think it is.
Yeah, he's in the chat.
Hey, seriously, man. All right. Verify your identity just to be sure. What was the piece? I don't know what I can hear from.
Yeah,
I
we'll
think that
see.
is him, though. I think that is him.
See if he responds.
Or he just disappears again.
No,
Maybe he's
I
not real.
chat with Mark. He pops on and off.
Okay.
Yeah, well, there you go.
What do you say?
I don't know. I'm waiting for him to
Oh,
respond.
okay. Okay. Wait. The pizza story was we had a real horrible waitress, and she
Actually, oh, hang on.
hey, got him.
Oh no, he's just messing around. It's not him.
All right.
Um,
All right. Never mind.
I gotta
Not funny,
run.
dude. Not funny.
I don't know. It's kind of funny. Um,
All right. It's kind of funny. Dre says it's funny. It's funny.
um, yeah. Before you get into the pizza story, I gotta run out for a minute. So
I'll just keep working on the scarecrow
yeah, why don't you sing a little bit?
here. You want to keep these people that are on here?
Fly me to the moon.
And you said the most.
Here it is. Come on. Okay, I'll be right back. No, not right back. Give me 2 minutes.
2 minutes counting. Hey, everybody. I can't read the comments right now, but maybe. Oh, no, I can't because I'm not set up to read the comments. La, 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 la. Hey, my name is Jay. I'm a Pisces. I'm drawing a scarecrow. If you missed earlier, this is Dr. Sin, the the Scarecrow of Romney Marsh from a Disney movie from the 1960s. Piece will not involve nudity. Actually, what's going to end up being is more of an ink wash type thing. Here. What is gray looking? I think that's that Duty Free music. Now remember, if you keep saying like really funny, screwed up things about me on here, I can't see it. So at least make it entertaining, because Dre's going to be reading this when he gets back and probably laugh his ass off. No, seriously, mess with it. Come on. Talk about how screwed up this piece looks. Good Lord. I can't even begin to describe it. It's weird. It's a long 2 minutes. Hey, Dre, where are you, Dre? I'm so cold and alone here, Dre. I talk about myself some more. I feel like it.
Okay, I'm back. What did I miss?
Hey, I was encouraging them to say screwed up things about me because I can't comment.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't. Go feed the ducks.
Uh-oh. I'd go feed the ducks, wink, wink.
Yeah. I get fed at night. All right, so pizza story.
Okay. Yeah, so we went to this pizza place in Pittsburgh to get you have dinner, and it's this place called Anthony's Coal Fire Pizza. Here we're open up for liability. But the concept's great. They had these coal-fired ovens to make really like crispy looking pizza, and they serve wings, all kinds of stuff. And it's not bad. I mean, the food is actually pretty darn good. And we had been there a couple of times, so we went there for dinner the one night, and we get this really unusual waitress, and she was, when people are trying to be cute and charming, and they're failing at it horribly.
Yeah.
And it comes across as just really abrasive. That's what she was doing, and it wasn't stopping. And we're kind of like trying to tune her out to just take the damn pizza order, and please try not to be part of this conversation that we're having amongst ourselves here. And she just wasn't stopping, and she kept coming in with these bad jokes, and trying to be cute by being playfully insulting and things, and we're like, what the hell are you doing? And this just kept going on and on and on, and to the point where we were just like, we really hate you. We want you to just go away. And
Did you tell
we
her
were
that?
kind well, we were just, we weren't trying to be rude. We were just like, ignoring her, like, just giving her the drink orders or anything else, just say go. And we're ignoring her every time she comes back, except for anything that had to do with food. So she kind of clued in on that and was leaving us alone. So we finished our dinner, and then the bill comes, and I was looking at my wallet, and I went, I only had like a couple of small bills and $50. So I said, well, and I just told Michelle, I says, I'm just going to pay this in cash, not throwing it on the card. And she's like, yeah, that's probably a good idea. So I went and did that, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting.
Oh, she didn't bring you change?
She never came back with the change. So I'm like, what the hell? And in light of this and the really annoying behavior and everything, I'm just like, I'm not going to be nice. I'm going to be that guy. I don't get an opportunity to be that guy very often, but I'm going to now. So I walked up to the bar. One of the managers was there, and I got a hold of her, and I'm telling her what the hell's going on. Because to be honest, I never saw the waitress. She never came back out. And, I'm a little concerned. So I'm just like telling her what's going on. And she says, well, let me, find out. And, she gets the girl out of the kitchen, and the girl comes out, and she says, this gentleman says, he gave you a $50 bill for his tab. And he wanted to know where his change was. Her response was, oh, I thought it was a tip. Oh, really?
Like, here's a tip for you.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't. And then she's trying to laugh it off, like, oh, my bad, my mistake.
Mm.
And I'm just like, I'm fuming. I'm like, yeah, I know what you tried to do. I know exactly what you tried to do. And I'm thinking, how can I get her? How can I get her? There's nothing I can do at this point, right?
Yeah.
So she hands the money back, and then she says, oh, I'm sorry, I'm really bad with math. I'm from West Virginia. And like his little green light goes off in my head, and like, here we go. And I went, and I just looked at her deadpan and went, I'm from West Virginia.
Oh, fuck.
You want to talk awkward? The manager literally about squeezed out a brick right there. Oh, it was a beautiful thing. And, I got my money back. And as we are trying to leave the place, the head manager is chasing us down in the parking lot with a handful of $5 gift certificates, begging us to come back. And Michelle and I are like, no, no. Yeah. And I did flat out look. I flat out turned around and looked at him and went, you want to do me a favor? Fix that. Yeah, make sure that never happens again. So, and I'm not kidding. About a year passes, and we're up in the same area again. It's up near where Michelle works. So I was reluctant. We were looking for a place to eat, and I was kind of reluctant, but I says, you want to give it another try? And she's very reluctant, but she's like, yeah, why not? Michelle is not the most forgiving person, especially when it comes to shit like this. I mean, she's a very good person, very kind heart, very generous. You piss her off, you screw her over, or people she cares about, you screw them over. That's it.
But
You
you had
know.
all those coupons.
Well, no, we didn't. We didn't take them. I mean, come on. I was tempted to like grab the whole handful and just start passing them out in the parking lot.
Yeah, that's here.
Yeah, one of
Throw
those
them in a
things you
soup
think about.
kitchen and hand them out.
Yeah, too late to think about it now. Too late at the time. But anyway, yeah. So we go back there for dinner, and I mean, no great story like the last one, but cutting to what ended up happening was the food was terrible, the service was terrible, and they'd even raised the prices on everything. So that kind of did it, and that became our joke. Is every time we're up by that area, we drive past this place, we always scream, "Fuck you, Anthony's," and it kind of goes against my thinking because I'm like, holding grudges like that's kind of stupid, but it's become kind of creative. So in the case of point of we were joking about hostility and you know anybody who might have pissed us off or we're pissed off at or anything, I had to jump into that one. It's like, yeah. I get along with just about everybody except Anthony's Coal Fire Pizza. Screw those bastards because it makes no sense. You're like, what? Wait a minute, what? Yeah, sort of the John Oliver school of humor.
Yeah.
Have you watched him, right? You watch his show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how he just randomly will just like throw out a name like he's attacking somebody.
Yeah. Just for whatever reason, he gets away with a lot of stuff. I'm sure their legal department's just like there's like,
Burning
oh
calories.
yeah.
I think one of my favorite gags that he pulled was
The new big sign that says no hillbillies.
what's that?
Mark says the new big sign that says no hillbillies.
Oh man. One of my favorite gags that John Oliver pulled that I saw recently was watching a lot of his older shows, and there was one that was on marijuana legislation and you know legalizing it in the U.S. And there was the running gag he was doing was he was talking about some guy, and he kept talking like all of a sudden randomly would look at the screen and start talking to this guy named Doug. And he was explaining that Doug was probably the stoner guy sitting at home right now freaking out because John Oliver was in his head. And he kept going back to it. And he had this great graphic of this stoner guy freaking out in the back looking at the TV. I'm in your head, Greg. I'm in your head. No, Doug. I'm in your head, Doug.
Okay, I think I want to call this.
I like it.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I'm not. I'm not crazy about it. I think it's mainly the drawing.
Well, what were you looking for? I mean, it's very
nothing.
Red Skull looking to me, huh?
Yeah, I want kind of like a Kirby-esque Red
I think
Skull,
you got it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a plan, right? Like, I just fucking around with oil paints, right? To get a sense of, you know.
Maybe just sit on that one a little bit if you're not really happy with it. Just sit on it and hit it with a fresh eye and see what happens. Because I'm looking at. I think you've succeeded, but I think the problem is I don't think you're quite set on where succeeding is.
Yeah,
I think
that might be it. Oh, maybe I need to hit it.
Yeah, I don't think, as you said, you don't really have a plan going into this because I think what's happening is your eyes bouncing around like all these different ideas that you want to do with it, and where it's not fitting with any particular crazy idea that's crossing your mind. It's starting hit red flags like that's not right. But
Well,
you
that's
haven't
the thing.
really.
I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't know what's not right.
Yeah.
I guess in my head, I had a different something else in mind, but I don't know what that
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, and that's kind of the issue. I mean, it happens to me all the time, and the only way around it I have found is to stop at that point, put it away, and until you can look at it and go, oh, this is exactly what I want to do with it. You're not going to be able to proceed.
Oh, I'm
But
not coming back to this.
oh, I think you should. I mean, I would just file it. I wouldn't destroy it. I'd file it.
No, I'm not destroying it. I'm gonna let it dry. I'm gonna varnish it, and then I'm gonna put it up for sale. But
Oh, or do that, or do that.
yeah, it would pop. I
No,
think
I
a
think
lighter background. See,
I
that's
mean,
an
it
idea.
is dark. It is dark, but honestly, I really don't have a problem with so much. I mean, if you wanted to, you could boost the highlights a little bit, or you could. Oh, what'd be fun? Give it like a red glow behind it. Not the same red that you're using on him, but something that would stand apart a little bit. Maybe like a deeper red, and it would break up that heavy blackness.
Yeah, that you think you're right there. Let me do.
Something in the background there that's not too strong to distract, but at the same time is going to separate that a little bit.
Yep. Working on it. Let's see.
I mean, I don't see any problem with the structure at all. I think the drawing's fantastic. For what you're looking for, that is the quintessential Marvel Red Skull right there.
I was missing a cigar, but that's okay.
Really?
If you really want it.
Really? He's missing a monocle too, isn't he? Come on.
A little bit of red smoke. I'm not blacking out the back. Like I'm not gonna go crazy on the background, but I can.
No.
Which is another thing that I want to try to do. I'll try to blend kind of a smoky texture.
Okay. Well, it works in context too. I mean, his weapon is that Joker ripoff thing, the red dust.
Oh, see, I don't know much about the Red Skull.
Um, Actually, I didn't even know about this until recently. I kind of got away from comics, but I guess his big thing was they gave him something kind of like the Joker's laugh gas, the deadly smile gas,
Yeah.
and they call it the death dust, and it's like this red dust that he can shoot out of like his cigarette holder or any other thing, and he what happens is that you die horribly. It like kills you, and then it like dehydrates the flesh around your face,
It's kind of
so
like
that
mummifies you.
yeah, but it makes you go bright red,
Oh,
so your face turns into a red skull. Ha ha ha! Get it?
yeah. It's very old school.
Creepy.
Well, no, it's like old school weapons.
Yeah, that's why I say that. If you put like the red fog behind him like that, that's kind of addressing that in a way, I guess.
Mm, for the purists.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah! And the way they are. Got to keep it in canon, dude. I think I'm done with the pencils on this. I'm gonna start throwing some ink wash on it. Oh.
See, now that I'm seeing your pencil drawing, I recognize that character.
Uh-huh.
For some reason, I thought as somebody just took the Scarecrow from the Wizard of Oz and the Lone Ranger and kind of matched up a character.
And you're not wrong. and
No,
yet you're
but
not wrong.
yeah, no, but like somebody did it for shits and giggles and became a popular thing.
Yeah.
But apparently, it's a real character.
And honest to God, I don't even know where you could find this movie. I looked it up one time to see where you could find it, and it's become kind of one of those big collector things. And I guess they did a limited release on VHS back in the 90s or so, and very, very limited. And then I think it appeared on a couple of like double feature things that they were doing, and that's about it. As of right now, I don't think it's in print, or I don't think it's available at all. I know it's certainly not on streaming. Huh?
It's not on Disney Plus, right beside
It's
Moana.
not on Disney Plus right now, no. It should be though. Damn it. They can have the Encanto sing along. They can have Dr. Sin.
We don't talk about Dr. Sin.
If I knew that enough, I'd sing the song.
Encanto was a very pleasant surprise.
Was it?
Yeah, I don't know if you've watched it.
We started to last night, but
Can I get into it?
I'm not going to criticize it because what ended up happening was I think it was, two people that were kind of looking for something to watch in particular and took a shot and went, nah, that's not it. That's not what we're looking for. Because as Michelle said last night, I want something kind of dark and twisted.
Yeah, that's
like, yeah, that ain't gonna be it. And Disney musical, no. I mean, what I saw of it though, I got to tell you, I mean, for what it is, it looked adorable.
It's really good. I had very low expectations for some reason. Because there was nothing in the marketing collateral for it that really kind of stood out to me. But like, okay, whatever, I'll watch. I like animated movies, right? If nothing else, just for the art of it.
Right.
Like Raya, the one with the dragons.
I have not seen that yet. I have not seen it. That is one that is actually on my list to watch.
Okay, so I didn't really enjoy the story, but the animation is top notch. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll watch it for that aspect. And it was kind of the same thing with Encanto. Actually, Pam watched it first, and I came home. She's like, "Oh my god, this Encanto movie is so good! You got to watch it." I'm like, "Okay." So she watched it twice in the same day. But yeah, it was really, really good. The animation's great. The singing's great. The story's different.
I did make one smart ass comment that I'm still kind of patting myself on the back for, though, about it was I'm watching it, and they're going through the whole family members with their superpowers thing.
Yeah.
And I told Michelle, I says, thinking about this and Frozen, I get the impression that Disney was really, 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 really wishing that they had made the X-Men movies.
Yeah.
Because it's like, they keep making these movies that are very, very similar characters.
Yeah, young people discovering powers and how they handle them. That's
and how they handle them, and dealing with society's rejection of them, and you're like, wow, when did Chris Claremont start working for Disney?
Well, apparently when they bought Marvel.
Yeah.
But the other, so this weekend I watched Turning Red.
Yeah, what'd you think of that?
Never watching that again.
It's awkward, isn't it?
There's something. There's a genius to it, but there's also the one thing that stood out to me the most, and I know it takes place in Toronto. It's like they hammered over the head that they're Canadian. It's like, do I really need to see a maple leaf in almost every single scene? Or it's just like, why do I need to be constantly reminded that this is Canadian?
You know, it's funny. I kind of put that in the back of my mind and never really thought about it till now. But I did notice that it was like, what the hell? Like everybody had, like hockey jerseys on with maple
Maple Leaf.
leaves on them, and I'm like,
Like just straight out Maple Leaf t-shirts. People don't wear Maple Leaf t-shirts in Canada. Maybe in
yeah.
like farm country, but not in Toronto.
Well, I guess it's let's be honest. It's an American fallacy. That movie is produced by an American company, and why wouldn't Americans think that? Because I mean, if you come down here, everybody's freaking wearing stars and stripes.
Yeah, here it's like I think you're more likely to see more like NYFD t-shirts than Maple Leaf t-shirts. I'm not talking like Toronto Maple Leafs, like jerseys, because obviously they didn't have that license. But
But the national, yeah,
people don't walk around in like I Heart Canada shirts.
I know.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, you're preaching to the choir. I get it. I completely get it. I mean, and I feel the same way around here when I see people, and it's so funny because it's not like some kind of crazy fanaticism. American flag wear down here, it's kind of become like generic wear. If you want to wear something with a print logo on it, but you want to be as inoffensive and as generic as possible, yeah, something USA. Because it's like, oh yeah, I get it. We're Americans, we get it, Oh, okay. You're an American, yeah, so am I. Okay. You're wearing the shirt, yay. And everybody's like, yeah, red, white, and blue goes with kind of everything. We're good. But that's kind of it. Well, now recently it's changed, of course, but yeah, recently it's got a little scarier. but
maybe
I get it. Yeah. I mean, I haven't. I mean, I went to college with a number of Canadians, and that was sort of their attitude too. Is you're like, we don't care.
It's like, yeah, okay, I'm Canadian. I don't. Yeah, I'm not wearing a backpack that says I am Canadian, like unless I want it from Molson, but then it's gonna have paint stains on it, right? Like,
I've kind of seen this reaction from you a couple of times with things where, it becomes kind of a joke where, to Americans, it's like, oh, like let's make fun of people for certain things, and if you're Canadian, it's like, oh, we can make fun of Canada because you're from Canada, ha ha ha, get the humor kind of thing. And you responded exactly like every other Canadian. Every time I would make a joke about Canada, you did the same thing. You're like, I don't get it. Why is that funny? Yeah, I know I'm Canadian. What the hell?
but
yeah, it's that weird tribalism in this country. We've never gotten around it, and I don't think ever will.
But back to the movie. Yeah. So aside from that,
sorry.
Yeah, no. Aside from the unrealistic Canadian pride, yeah, it was okay. I mean, there wasn't a song and dance really, so that was good. I'm not big on the musicals for the most part. Animation was okay. The story was okay, but yeah.
I'm sitting here laughing to myself thinking too, is like, I was uncomfortable with the movie in just very obvious ways, and I'm sitting here listening to this going, okay, we're talking about a movie with a very heavy-handed analogy that makes reaching puberty kind of like turning into the Hulk.
Yeah.
And this is your takeaway, is the
why the hell did
Canadian pride.
Yeah, why do they have Tim Hortons in it? Why do they have to eat Timbits for breakfast? Nobody eats Timbits for breakfast. It's a lunch meal. Everybody knows that.
No, they eat them down here for breakfast. It's a novelty. We love it. All right.
Yeah. And the Sky Dome's not called the Sky Dome anymore. But I guess they set the time frame as to where it takes place because they all have flip phones and the CD.
It's funny you bring that up. That was a problem I had with the movie. It was going out of its way to also say, what was this? It was like the 90s,
yeah,
or the 2000s or something. It was like 20 years ago, They were really, really adamant that you knew that this movie was 20 years ago. But then it kept slipping up and acting like something that was going on now. And it was just like kind of a goof, and then they would turn around and go, "Oh, no, this is 20 years ago." And then it would be like they'd slip up again and act like, the 2020s again, and you're like, what? Make up your freaking mind.
Well, you see this in horror movies a lot recently, is it because you can't have, like, especially a slasher or kids lost, like crazy psycho killer type movie. You
Uh-huh.
can't have that in modern days because they'd be tweeting about it, it'd be on Facebook Live, right?
Yeah,
So they
I
said
agree.
all
I
these
agree.
movies in the 90s where it just had a flip phone. It's like, oh no, I
Yeah,
have no reception. Like, really? You have no reception? You wouldn't be out here if you didn't have a reception as a 17-year-old debutante, right?
exactly.
But
Well, and I also don't like. I'm really having an issue anymore with period movies that do. It's like, okay, this is the 1990s or this is the 1980s, and then they get very heavy-handed with it. And my biggest pet peeve of that example was the Marvel Captain was the Captain Marvel movie.
with all the 90s references, like the Blockbuster video and the Nirvana t-shirt.
Well, not just the Nirvana t-shirt. Like every time you turned around, she had like a Nine Inch Nails t-shirt on. She had a Nirvana t-shirt on. She had a Pearl Jam t-shirt on. And I kept thinking, like, were you actually in the 90s? I know you were. you know, I know you were there. But do you really, really remember what it was like? Nobody would be walking around with a Nine Inch Nails shirt on.
Yeah. Well, not nobody, but
No, I'm going to go with that. Nobody. I never saw one. I didn't see a Nine Inch Nails shirt until I think like 2007. Hey, Christ, I'm in Ohio. That's where they're from.
yeah.
It just, yeah, that wasn't the time. I mean, that wasn't the age when everybody was like wearing, obscure band shirts. It was, a very different time.
Yeah, they were obscure for a reason at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, and there was oh God, I can't remember. It was one of the Transformer movies. It was supposed to be set in the 80s. And
Bumblebee.
it was the Bumblebee movie. And there was it was a kind of another example. It was like every time you turned around, this girl had like on a Smith shirt or a Susie and the Banshee shirt. And I kept thinking, it's like, yeah, that didn't happen. you know, that that wasn't going on. There was no Amazon where you're just kind of like, hey, I'm into Susie. I think I'm just gonna get a Susie shirt. No, you wanted a Susie shirt. You had better go see them in freaking concert and spend a ridiculous amount of money for it. Or, you had a really cool record store in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
And even then you wouldn't wear it because people would be looking at you like, who the hell's that?
Your name's not Susie.
Yeah. What is this crap?
Dag first hillbillies, no Buckeyes. Y'all talking about my people. I think Mark got triggered.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Where's Mark from? Where are you from, Mark?
And it says the 90s are a blur.
Yeah, as they should have been. For me too. That's
Isn't
why
there
we
a
had fun.
called Blur? Oh, he's from Ohio.
Oh. Well, guess where I'm at right now, dude.
So he might know Anthony's Pizza.
He might. I know they're around Pittsburgh, but I don't know if they have them up around the Cleveland area. I don't think they're in Youngstown. And I don't know what part of Ohio he's in.
It says all his relatives are from WV, so West Virginia.
Yeah, probably not far from here then. I mean, I'm in Ohio, but I can look out my living room and see West Virginia from here. And yes, Mark, they're my people too.
He says he's from around Youngstown. Youngston.
Dude, guys, this guy in my backyard. Hey, Mark, stand up and wait. Let me see where you're at. God.
There you go. You made a friend.
Sweet Jesus. He really is within driving distance of me right now, just by even saying that.
It doesn't matter where Youngston you are.
No, it doesn't.
So where's who do you do the live auctions with? Locked and Loaded Comics?
Well, they're actually from here. They're not far from here at all. Actually, they're just right over the hill from where I live. Their house, anyway. We do them right out of their house mostly. They've come here a couple times, and we set up in my studio. The other guys are near the Chicago area. They're in Naperville, where Warner's from. They're actually in Warner's hometown.
That's Clan
McDonald,
Yeah.
Yeah, they are like maybe 10 minutes from Warner's house. But yeah, the Locked and Loaded guys, it's sort of funny. We sort of ran into each other, in the comic book circuit thing, and we got to talking, kind of similar to this conversation we're having with Mark here, where we're like, oh, where are you from? Oh, from Ohio. Oh, so am I. We're out in Ohio. Oh, near outside of Pittsburgh. Oh, okay, so am I. And we just kept narrowing it down, and it got to the point where it's like, do you live in my house? And I found out they really did live just about maybe 10 minutes from my house, and the only reason it's 10 minutes is because there is really no direct way there. We're in the the hills outside the Ohio Valley, and you kind of have to take some windy back roads to get to where they're at. But they live on the way to where I go to do most of my shopping. So like where all the main shopping centers and everything are around here, I kind of have to go past where their house is. So I knew exactly where they were, and so we got to the point where we're like, yeah, we need to start doing some stuff together. And it's been a while with them. I need to get back in touch with them. Just been so tied up with everything else, I haven't really been wanting to take on new work. But they're fun. I love those guys.
They're nice.
They're really nice. Super nice.
I've tuned in to troll you, but I don't know if it's the wife that handles the comments. She doesn't put most of my comments up, and I'm offended. As a Canadian, I'm offended.
Yeah, it's not like they're rude.
So next time you do one of them, just say if Dre hops in the comments, just say what he says. It's okay.
Seriously. Yeah, I'm not going. Now that I know, I'll definitely tell him that. You need to put Dre on there, man. Need to.
Where RT305 meets RT45.
Yeah. All right. I know where that is. Yeah, that's not far at all from here. Yeah. Just so you know, I keep saying this, Mark. I'll tell you where I'm at. I am off of Route 39 outside of Wellsville, which kind of overlooks the Ohio River, but is really close to East Liverpool, which is probably what he would know better. I'm not far from Route 45 at all, actually. In fact, I was on it yesterday.
Okay, I don't know if this is showing through the video, but yeah, there's some yellow and orange and red happening.
Yeah, I can't really see it too well. Again, I'm looking on my camera, on my phone, on my camera, so it's not.
Yeah, no, it's not catching because it's also still wet, so it's got some gloss. But
I can see. I can see the differentiation though. Yeah, once the glare's not hitting it, I can see a lot of the differentiation. I see, yeah, it's definitely pushing him forward.
Yeah, it's darker in the middle where the eyes are.
Yeah, good call, dude. Looks good.
So let me just pop.
You're onto something there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pop the whites on the eye a little more, and then I'm gonna put this one away. I think I'm done with it.
Yeah, I'm just tooling around on here until we're off of this, and I'm going to probably on something else, but I got enough to work with on here. I'm going to get this thing with wash, really
Okay,
bring
so
out the black.
you're gonna gouache it?
Wash, no ink wash.
Oh,
We use ink wash. It's going to
there's
be very
another.
washy looking.
So there's another medium I need to give a second try, and that's gouache.
Yeah, I bought a whole set. I got them downstairs. I messed around with them for a little bit. A lot of fun, but yeah, that's I don't know. I mean,
See, here's the
not
thing.
like. Go ahead.
To me, like when I tried gouache, I'm like, okay, this needs to look like Alex Ross. It did not look like Alex Ross.
No, I know.
No, this is garbage. So going back to trying to what's the look you have in your mind? Like no, like this looks like shitty acrylics.
Well, you bring up a good point though with Alex Ross. I mean, really look at Alex Ross's stuff. It doesn't take a lot to figure out how he's doing it, but it's not what you would expect. I mean, because when you first glance at it, or you're looking at it from at the distance or anything, you get this feeling that it's very very washy. Almost like a traditional watercolor effect is what he's doing, and to a degree, it's kind of what he's doing. But I only say to a degree because if you really look at it, he's blocking out stuff like crazy.
Yeah,
He's using like a lot of solid color, and he is planning those things out a lot more than I think people who are used to that media like to do.
I mean, and he
And
said that he's not using gouache the way it's meant to be used.
no,
Which
you can tell
you
it.
know,
Yeah,
yeah, he's very forward about it. Like this is not how I use gouache, but just the way I use it. But
but
yeah,
I've never met anybody that has ever been able to demonstrate to me how gouache is supposed to be used. It's a conundrum. I mean, I thought I was getting a handle on it looking at Alex Ross, and I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, oh no, that's not how you're supposed to. I'm like, what the hell? I squeeze this stuff out and I start, adding water to it, and I'm putting it on pieces, and I'm like, this is
no,
watercolor.
yeah,
This is
and it's
freaking
picking up.
watercolor.
Hang on one sec.
There's.
Sorry, one sec. I just want to
All
see how
right.
this guy's drawing. Yeah. I had to take my headphones off to get this. So this is the other
Oh,
oil I did. That was the first one.
I saw that post and I love that.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm not hating it, but there could have been better. But I'm just saying the way it's a drawing.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a confession, and I really, really, really stress that I don't want you thinking that this is a slam in any way
Okay.
whatsoever. Please take this as a solid, solid compliment.
Okay.
But that popped up on Instagram one day, and I was just kind of flipping through, and it was like screeching brakes. I hit this and went back and went, "Holy fuck, this is amazing! Who did this?" Like, oh, it's Dre.
You get me too.
And I say that because I never really saw you render anything that much. And that was because, I'm not overly I mean, I've seen the stuff that you've done for cards. I've seen the stuff we do on here. It's kind of like you just see somebody sketching forever and ever, and then you see a final piece that they do.
Right.
That was the impression I got, was because it was like, oh, so this is what this guy can do when he's allowed to do it,
But the thing is, this didn't take long.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. I'm
And
not
this
talking
is
about length
like,
of time.
well, so this is like it's sitting in the closet drawing because it's fucking oils and it's going to take a week. But what I'm discovering is that as it's drying, it's getting dull. So when it was
Hmm.
wet, I had this white key line on the eye here that's now lost. So that's why I want to take it out and see if I need to touch it up, which I do. But
Okay.
and thank you. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to. And now there's red in this. Okay, I'm gonna Not
No, I seriously, that is one of the most technically sound pieces I've seen you produce. Um, I mean, I love it. Just the texture in it, um, the work on the detail and everything on it. I mean, I think it's really solid.
thank
And
you.
yeah, and as I say, I don't want. I'm trying to be careful as to not make it sound like, oh, that's a real step forward for you there, right? No.
No, no, I know what you mean. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I've done more detailed Venoms on this size, but um, what it's. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's different about it because it is very soft. There
Yeah,
isn't
it
one hard
is.
edge anywhere. Like I think this would reproduce on a smaller scale really nice. Um,
And honestly, that's why I think I keep going nuts about it is because I keep seeing it on a small screen.
yeah.
Every time I run into it, it's usually on my phone. Surfing through Instagram.
Mhm.
So yeah, to tell you, will that show up good if you shrink it down? Oh hell yeah! I mean, I can testify to that because I can see that every day, every time I look at it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's and plus I love the design on it. Let's just call it for what it is. I mean, okay, rendering is rendering. Technique is technique.
Yeah,
Sometimes it
but
works, sometimes it doesn't.
it's a statue reference from somewhere. I can't remember, like Kiyabusa or whatever, right? But
Oh, how dare you! I've never done that, never will.
yeah, well, not saying it, putting it out there because I'm very, try to be like some
Look.
statues, wasn't a
Well,
statue.
hey, while we're having confessional, I will tell you there are more times than not that I will actually reference statues, maquettes, action figures. Um, because when people want something like a comics version Gamora, but they want it to look very realistic and they want it to be doing certain things. I'm not going to go out and spend the money from a collector's, action figure, or I'm not going to, pay $100 to get a model to, dress up like Gamora and then pose and then sit there and think, okay, how do I make it look like somebody else?
Right.
When, I can surf the catalogs and, oh, here's a good pose, here's a good pose, here's a good pose. And then I can, swap things out, but it comes with its best, it comes with perfect lighting reference. It comes with perfect, reference for different directions. And, you can't beat that.
Oh no, God no.
And honestly, a lot of, I mean, pro illustrators and animators, that's what they do. They get the maquettes. That's what maquettes are.
They're reference models.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, I mean, I do the same. Yeah. And nowadays, the way action figures and statues are the detail on them. Oh, you'd
Well,
be nuts not.
thank you, Todd
Yeah.
McFarlane, for that.
Yeah. You'd be nuts not to use it.
But here, I'll show you what. I'll put this back in. I'll show you what my main time spender is nowadays.
Holy shnikes. Yeah. Oh my God, dude. Yeah. Yeah.
That's not going to be in oil, but I needed a break from this.
I hear you.
Because I'm still doing the underpainting here, and then I got to mask it and airbrush it and whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are oil brushes. Keep my oil brushes separate in a different box. Because you got to have a good box. That time's at almost 3. Are you sticking around?
I'm trying to look at something else I can work on in here. I may have to go just because of that. Because I mean, I say I'm at a kind of a stopping point with this thing.
Right.
If there's anything I can just pick up and run with here. I found a couple pieces, but it's like, yeah, they're color. They're more like color application. Oh shit, there's that. Can't do this now, but I gotta get it done. Hey, I just found something I forgot about.
Oh, yeah, I don't even know if I can get this on camera.
You need a new camera there, son.
Well, I need to put the stand up, but then it's going to get my entire messy table.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, I don't know. Let me see here. I got this tiger piece that I really, really got to get going on. But
Still there?
yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. So,
I was just zoned out there. I was looking at something. I'm gonna test this. See if the graphite's sealed up enough that I can paint on it.
there we go. Is that on frame? Yeah. All right. Can block in this fuckers here.
That is good.
Yeah, I'm lucky with this one because the guy that commissioned it, and I think I talked to you about this a while back because somebody wants a really big piece. I've never done one this big, but he's in no rush, so
Yeah,
we kind
that's
of.
good. Especially when they commission something monstrous like that, and you're like, yeah, this is gonna take forever.
Well, it's the things like it's gonna take a while, and being the size that it is, I can only like it's not like a sketch card where if I go on a 2 hour conference call, I can kind of work
Yeah.
on it. It's like I actually got to set time aside to work on this because it's so big. Um, so it's yeah.
I hear you,
Yeah,
man.
he's in no rush, and he's just seen the rough sketch, and that's it. He's just
Huh.
like, "Oh, show it to me when it's done." I'm like, well, I hope you like it. I want to do the mask for the airbrush today, so I can do the background. Yeah, I really like that Hello Kitty you got going on there.
Hello, Kitty.
Hello, I like the cat. Where's my
You know,
book?
one of the biggest mysteries to me is why the heck Tiger is not more popular.
I don't know. She is a really cool character, from an aesthetic, from the character itself.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
she's one of
got a
the OG Avengers, right?
yes, and great backstory.
But it just
I mean, yeah,
like any of these female werewolf type characters in Marvel has done, none of them really picked up.
yeah, and you
Both
wonder why.
Faye-
It's like, isn't this kind of a textbook sexual fantasy for every one of your readers?
oh, maybe that's why. Maybe they're just trying to um, play her
You
down. I
think they
mean,
downplay it a little bit?
yeah, I think we're gonna see her in the MCU at some point. I think that's what I read somewhere, but I have a feeling it's gonna be more of how do I say this without being politically insensitive?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. It's well, I mean, you think about it, it makes sense. And like when they announced they were doing the John Carter movie, and everybody was so up in arms over the images that were coming out of Dave Thoris's costume, and everybody was like, that doesn't look sexy. And I was like, you can't really do an authentic Deja Thoris costume in a movie. No one's going to allow that.
Well, you can, but you need it to be produced by like Penthouse, right?
I
Disney's
mean,
Marvel's
even
not putting their name on that.
no, they're not. It really would almost have to be pretty much adult entertainment because she runs around in a skimpy bikini all the time, and she really is like one of the most sexually charged characters that they've ever created. But So yeah, they. Well, I mean, like Deja Thoris was kind of funny because I mean, you actually read the book, she doesn't wear clothes at all. Their their society does not understand cloth. They just wear metal. Is what that was kind of how they got around it. Is like, well, they just naked all the time. It's like, well, actually, in the story, John Carter is, but they don't care because they're pretty much naked too. And if they wear anything, it's just metal
Armor.
bands, jewelry, or strategically placed, brass paste.
Well, if you look at a lot of like indigenous type communities, right,
Yeah,
out in the Amazon and whatever, they're wearing the clothing that they need to protect themselves, not for any type of aesthetic or shame or anything like that.
yeah, exactly.
Right? You wear a loincloth because you're riding a tiger, right? Like,
Yeah.
right.
And well, yeah, and the idea in John Carter was, he described Mars as just this really hot desert.
Yeah.
The weather never varied; it was always like super hot and arid. So, what do you expect people to wear? And they're always getting into sword fights, so it'd probably be something you'd think was like, well, I need something on this arm here to stop a blade.
Yeah.
You can't cover themselves, or they freaking burn to death. That made perfect sense. And in this case here, the tiger thing, when I was working on creating one character I'm working on, it kind of came down to the same issue, which really had nothing to do with sex appeal. It was sort of a bonus thing where you're like, oh, okay, good. Now she's going to look sexy, but that wasn't really the whole pretense of it. Was I had this character that I designed her to be this, you know, She-Hulk type character,
Yeah.
and she's spending a majority of the story jumping around and slugging with these monsters that are breathing fire or spitting acid or have razor sharp claws. She's not going to be sitting there trading in every week for a brand new cool uniform. So I designed her to be wearing pretty much all she wore just about every story was a sports bra and biking shorts.
Which works.
And deliberately, because it was like, well, think about what would be the easiest thing for you to be jumping around in and to beat the crap out of things with all the time. When you're under intense physical distress, what would work the best. And also one of the things was that I was designing her so that she had these kind of like spines on her shoulder, to make her look more imposing. So therefore, I thought, well, she's going to wear something that is always off the shoulder. Kind of like, again, sports bra or like a sleeveless tank top or something like that. So the whole tiger thing, I got it because I'm looking at her going, okay, she's a tiger woman.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's times when she's at the Avengers and they're having a dinner party or something, she's going to put on a nice dress. I'm sure when she goes jogging in Central Park, she's going to put on a jogging suit. I get it. But, when she's got to go out and fight the forces of Kang or Doctor Doom, what the hell is she going to do?
Get it. Do her makeup first? Like...
Exactly. Yeah, she's going to throw on a bikini and she's going to beat the crap out of people.
That's where kind of the Disney Marvel thing drives me nuts. That they're trying to be, and I get it, you're trying to be approachable and respectful and something that can appeal to boys and girls of all ages, but some of these characters, their over sexualization is actually part of the character.
Yeah.
We're like,
Oh, yeah.
Emma Frost,
She's a dominatrix.
She's a dominatrix. She is very sexually charged, and that's the way the character was written. If you don't want to go there,
Don't do the
don't use
character.
the character. Like, don't do the character. Don't dumb her down because I don't know.
Well,
Stuff
it's
like
going to
that.
be real interesting to see what they do with She-Hulk. and She-Hulk is probably one of the more accessible characters that they're going to have to run with because she keeps her intellect and she's a lawyer, so you can have her in a business suit. You can have her dressing like the well-dressed woman of Manhattan kind of thing. And then if you want to, when she gets into a combat situation, the clothes can get ripped up, or she can take off jackets and shirts and stuff to fight. So you can nudge into the sexuality without having to go too over the top. But how far do you go with it? Because think about She-Hulk. It's like, how many times in that book did it really push the envelope?
Well, look at the cover, right?
Yeah.
The first appearance, like
how many times has she appeared naked on a cover?
I can't tell you I've ever gone around counted it,
Well,
but
rhetorical, dude.
yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, it was so matter of fact. I'm like, hang on a second, he actually wants me to answer? I don't know.
No, you were hoping I was wanting you to answer. Oh wait, let me go research.
How many times Google? Hey,
I got to Google for a while here.
Yeah, this might take a while.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. How do you deal with and yeah, you're right. Like Marvel is really in a tough spot. Being owned by Disney now, and Disney really pushing the agenda of this has to be for kids. It has to be inclusive. We are really going to be sensitive to so much stuff, and yet you're talking about Marvel. It's like a lot of these storylines do not lend themselves to that sort of thinking, and they weren't really ever intended to it. And just even for sometimes the simplest point of a lot of them were written by a bunch of horny middle-aged guys back in the 60s anyway.
Sorry, Mark, so just count your framed issues.
Yeah. Or even worse, it's like it really started taking off in the 90s when the idea of every comic book was just a sexy pinup anyway.
Yeah. Oh, so let me see if I have it somewhere accessible. So you wouldn't know, but I wrap my commissions in comic book pages. That's kind of
cool.
my thing. So you get a card, and I'll try for the most part to find it's just quarter bin stuff, right?
Right.
But for the most part, like if you get a Wolverine, I might wrap your card in that panel, right? So it folds together. Like it's kind of like my gimmick. So,
I like it.
Thanks. A lot of people like it. People are like, it kind of, you see it on live streams when they're like, oh, I got a little mail call, and they just show the packed card, like unwrapped, and people immediately know it's for me.
Good idea.
Kind of like a brand thing. But, was it this book? I was doing a Gambit. I sent the Gambit cards the other day, and, I found out that I don't really have too many books with Gambit, but I'm going through all my Marvel books, like the cheesy ones. Where is it? Give me a second. It's Punisher. Yeah. It's one of the Jim Lee books, and it's got to be a famous panel. It's Psylocke stepping out of the shower. She's got her leg up over the tub and a towel wrapped around her top, and her hair's wet. It's like a half-page panel. It's like this is kind of. I was looking at the story arc in that book. I'm like, what does this have to do with anything?
Nothing.
This has nothing to do with anything, but
well, I mean, consider the time period, and the answer to that, truthfully, is nothing and everything. Because let's be honest, and when that was going on, and it is to this day too. But that's it's a very, very sexually hungry audience.
Yeah.
This has been going on an awful long time. When suddenly they were discovering, it's like, who are these characters? Well, these are actually very well built, attractive women that fight crime.
Yeah.
And, they're going to be in really good shape because they have to be. So it didn't take much of a stretch to start realizing, well, they're going to get naked sometime. And it became sort of a bit of an enticement. It's like, well, you can now show them as more sexual creatures because you can. And why not? Of course, that goes over the top, but it made perfect sense. And it's tough to argue with. There was a lot of feminist backlash at the time too, and still is,
Right.
over how the hell are you supposed to fight crime in a G-string? And yeah, that makes perfect sense. But does the audience really sit back and go, how believable is this fight? If that was the case, would comics even exist?
Yeah.
Let's face it. We're talking about giant robots shooting lasers out of their fingers, and that makes no sense. So why the hell would it make? Why would you have to sit there and go, all right, we need to give these women a functional costume,
But
when we know that a string bikini or a G-string or a thong is going to sell more books.
also, it just occurred to me, if you look
Huh.
at our modern day that we live in, social media, all that bullshit, right?
Mhm.
If you were, or if you are a strong female personality and you exist on social media, unless your brand is specifically about desexualization, you're that's exactly the kind of stuff that you're posting and exactly the kind of stuff that you're known for.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Right?
But
Like if you were Tigra or like, however you pronounce it, Tigra nowadays,
I
and
actually, I
you're
never thought. I
popular
never thought
and
of calling her.
accepted,
I never thought of Tigra. I like that.
Tigra.
That's kind of cool too. I like that.
You know me and pronouncing the things correctly.
Say Quasar
But,
again.
oh, sorry. But if she was a real person,
Yeah.
and that's the physique she had, and she had an Instagram or a TikTok or whatever, it would be like, you're on TikTok and you're watching cute kittens playing with ducks, and then you
Mhm.
come across Tigra in a bikini chasing ducks around the backyard.
Yeah.
That's exactly what would happen, and
Yeah.
no one would have
And,
an issue with it.
and honestly, do you really think that if these characters were real, they would downplay their sexuality?
God no,
No, because
because
they're human.
nobody in the public eye downplays their sexuality, unless again
Yeah,
that's their brand.
unless that's their brand, exactly. But if they know they can capitalize on it, and they have the opportunity to do it, and they discover the market to do so, damn well that's what they're going to do.
Imagine you're Mystique. Your entire life you were hiding because you're blue and you have that texture, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah,
people chase you because you're, deemed a
you're
freak.
blue.
You're blue and you look weird or whatever, and you were chasing. And all of a sudden that became acceptable. You tell me Mystique wouldn't be on TikTok changing her face and her body type every other day,
Oh gosh.
showing it off, right? Like
Yeah.
Emma Frost's OnlyFans would blow up. Just saying. So this
Well,
is
I mean, look at it this
very
way too. Is
politically incorrect conversation, so I hope I'm not offending anyone.
Well, no, I mean, I'm looking at it this way. I mean, we're not endorsing it so much as saying, "Oh yeah, this is what needs to happen." No, we're addressing it as a realistic thing, and it is true. I mean, honest to God, if I was built like Captain America, and I had a TikTok, you're damn right I'd be dancing around with my shirt off. But that's part of human nature. Is a lot of us want to feel attractive. Well, I think we all do want to feel attractive. In some cases, people want to
Obviously,
feel
you don't
attractive in
follow me
different
on
ways, not
TikTok.
necessarily. Well, I do, man. You're hot as hell. Uh, But I mean, and it really also depends on, what you're looking for, or what you consider attractive. Also see videos, I see stuff posted from TikTok, that is, people trying to look appealing by being, witty or charming or intellectual or just approachable or just cute. It has nothing to do with overt physical sexuality.
Hmm.
They're promoting their attractiveness in different ways, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's just because that's part of our nature is we want to feel. I mean, you can sit there and get biological about it. And go, well, it does have to do with reproduction, but who cares? It's the truth is we want to feel like we belong. It's why we have friends. It's why we still bond with our family. We're social animals, and we want to look appealing. And and if you look at it as like this, this kind of a look here, why is this considered appealing? Well, it has a lot to do with the fact that it looks healthy, it looks strong, it looks confident. And
Yeah.
and that is a lot of characteristics that we consider appealing. And the truth is this is a real person. I mean, damn well. I mean, I just shown you earlier. I use a lot of photo reference.
Yeah.
This is actually, I'll send you the link to who this is. This is a young lady who, yeah, she models, among other things. Right now, she is making a rather good living as a spiritualist expressionist painter.
Hmm.
She's a very good artist. And if that's not enough, if you follow her, she has documented her personal story quite a bit. It's fascinating. She actually had left modeling. She's from Alaska, and she left modeling, or she left for LA to become a model. Actually appeared in a couple of movies and did a lot of like bikini magazine type things, that sort of stuff. Kind of got disenchanted with it, namely because of the sleaziness that went along with the business. And I think that's what she said. But anyway, I don't want to put words in her mouth. But the thing was that she ended up going back to Alaska and took a job as a crab fisherman. Like dangerous catch.
Yeah.
She did that. She was a deckhand on a crab boat. So you're like, oh, okay. And then she gets injured, and she has to quit doing that. And actually, she was very severely injured. She had to do some rehabilitation, and ends up kind of rediscovering her glam roots, but also in the process of rehabilitation has discovered that she always did like art, and why not get into it? And she found out she was actually pretty good at it. So she started doing that. She's changed her lifestyle a lot from when she was in LA, but she still recognizes it, and she still appreciates, the fact that, people think she's pretty, and therefore, will pay for money for pictures of her, or will, follow her because she's attractive. But then it turns out then you find out it's like, yeah, but she's also a very fascinating person. She's got a great story. She's very inspirational because, she's kind of one of those people that makes you think, God, I'm not doing enough with my life. And you're sitting there going, geez, what a tough day I had. I had a hard time finding ragu spaghetti sauce up here in Toronto.
Yeah, sure. You don't sell ragu up here anymore.
Ain't no damn ragu up here. Let me talk to you about trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And here she is posting videos about, her and her boyfriend going into the woods and handpicking mushrooms that they're going to grill for dinner. or trips to Mexico where she just, hangs out with this art community and then, does these live shows where she just sits there and paints. She's selling her work for hundreds and thousands of dollars. Not bad.
Nope, that's all right.
And when I discover her through her glamour pics, where a couple of guys who follow me were big fans of hers, and I had a couple of guys actually suggest it's like, hey, check this girl out. And that's when I started finding out, like, yeah, she's more than just a, the pretty face model. She's got a hell of a story. And I became enamored with drawing her because, as you see, that personality comes through.
Yeah.
And one day I was trying to figure a good model for Tigra, and then it hit me. It's like I went back and started looking at these pictures, and it's like very similar personality. That confidence, the fact that Tigra had to change her life over and over and over again, and just is like so adaptable, but at the same time, hangs on to who she is and that sort of thing. And I went, wow, there's a lot of similarities here. And then out of nowhere, she posts this bikini picture in this pose. And I looked at that and went, there it is. That's my girl. That's Tigra right there.
That's La Tigra.
That is La Tigra.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And there she is. Wow, I went off on a tangent there. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a good, cool story, dude.
Oh, it is. Her name's Rena. I'll send you the link. You
Yeah,
follow
so
her.
I'll check it
Yeah,
out.
she is super cool. Even just not even just from a model standpoint. You can. She doesn't post so much modeling stuff anymore, but just to follow her artwork and her story and her life, it's really entertaining in a very good way. She's, as I say, she's very inspirational.
Oh shit. Sorry.
Unless, of course, you're like me many times a day, and you're like, yeah, I don't want to be inspired. I don't want to be reminded how crappy, how I wasted my life.
Stop telling me you're better than me.
Stop proving it.
Stop proving it.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Where you at? Are you switching over?
Well, no, I did trace the top part. Now I need to trace the bottom part. Just need to grab another sheet of paper. So I was talking to Patelis, who's I'm talking about Dimitri Patelis.
No, I don't.
Dimitri Patelis did a lot of Marvel stuff in the '90s, then moved on to other stuff. Airbrush guy.
Okay. No fault on his. I actually am not as versed as I really should be. I kind of stick in the bubble an awful lot.
Hang on, let me show you one of his more popular pieces.
Hey, actually, go ahead and look that up. I'm going to pull one of your moves here. I'm going to switch headphones. My earbuds are starting to die.
Okay.
And I'm going to go get an actual old-fashioned pair with a wire.
Oh.
So give me a minute here. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, you there?
I'm here.
All right, good. They're working.
So this you must have seen. You must recognize that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's his.
Okay.
That's probably one of his most popular pieces. But
yeah, I suck. That's that. Thank you for reminding me of
that. Anyway, so he's Canadian too. He's out of Montreal.
Okay.
Just chatting with him. Also surprising how approachable a lot of the artists are, like the known guys.
There is a hell of a art community in Canada with artists that are in comics, isn't there? Or is it just John Byrne? and you and Dimitri.
Well, I'm talking about professional people, not me. But like, I'll tell you the artist that I talk to. Like literally, I just reach out and say, "Hey, I love your work," and just ask them a random question, and turned into like ongoing conversations. Patelis, Palumbo, um, DeVries, Scanlon.
DeVries is Canadian. I did not know that.
DeVries is not Canadian.
Oh, I thought he
He's
was.
out of Jersey. Patelis
okay.
is Canadian. Well, he's Greek, but he lives in Canada.
Okay.
Um, David Finch is Canadian.
Really? I did not know that.
He lives in Kingston, which is just north of Windsor. So I guess Windsor, not sorry, in Windsor, which is north of Detroit.
Yeah.
Or instead of Detroit or whatever.
Uh-huh.
It's got like a horse farm.
That I knew. I didn't know that's where it was though.
Yeah, he doesn't respond to my messages. But anyways, a lot of these guys that are, I guess the ones that aren't like super active on a commercial sense in social media.
Yeah.
Like David Finch, with his hundreds of thousands of followers and subscription programs and stuff like that, right? He's not responding to DMs. But the guys that are just using social media as just basic social platforms, they respond to messages. Like, you can just chat with them, right? And they're normal people like you and me.
Yeah. Well, David Finch, actually, I met him. I met him in Baltimore at a show, but really didn't talk to him. And then maybe about a year or so later, he was at the Comic-Con that was going on in Columbus, Ohio at the time, which was a lot smaller show. And strangely enough, he did not have a lot of people. But then again, it was that was the show in front of him. So I took an opportunity to just go up and chat with him. Wasn't really sure what to expect, but kind of under the circumstances, just like as you said, they're people. They're just like everybody else. And he was actually very, very generous with his time. He was. I mean, I can understand it because he really didn't have anything else going on at the time. But he was actually very, very nice and real easy to talk to. It kind of just depends on the circumstances, I guess. And I don't want to say because some of these guys, like I've talked to them. Some days, they're very dismissive, and some days they're just really, really cool. Yeah. But aren't we? You're in the middle of 5 different projects, and some guy calls up and says, "Hey, I'm going to tell you how great your Venom drawing was. What are you going to do?" You're like, "Yeah, thanks, man."
Yeah, but it's just so I don't know. That wasn't my point. I was like, so I was talking to Dimitri's, and he's an airbrush guy, and I told him, like, hey, listen, I kind of dabbling with airbrushing and whatnot. And I don't know how we got onto it, but he was talking about doing stuff digitally and basically using the digital airbrush, and I was using it exactly the same. And I made the comments like, "Oh yeah, and I bet you it's a lot easier to mask." And he's like, "I don't mask anything."
No shit.
Everything freehand. He's like, "I don't mask anything. Like, I'll just freehand the whole thing." And like, I don't understand how to do that. And like, mind you, I've airbrushed like a whole, trying to think, like half an ounce of paint in my life. So the hell do I know? But yeah, then started getting, like, tell me some tips, and like, I was like, "Oh, if you really want to do it, this is the kind of brush you want, and this is why it makes a difference, and this is why I want $700 versus your $64.99 airbrush get you bought on Amazon." I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. So
it does make sense. It was I actually got I got one of the electronic airbrushes, that plugs in with the USB.
Yeah.
And I have yet to try it. Michelle's mad as hell at me about it because she wanted me for Christmas, and I just got it out of the box like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So when I bought mine, I was looking at one of those or those Chinese sets with the the USB ones. Yeah. And I ended up going for the sets, and I'm trying to remember why I went for the set instead of the USB one with the little cassette size compressor.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They're the same thing, right? I think it was a price thing because the dual action airbrush on the USB one was like $100, and the dual action one on the little compressor was like $69.99. And I'm like,
Yeah, that's about right. Because this was a little over 100. Was what this one ran.
yeah, and I'm like, it's not like I need, like I'm going anywhere to use it. So for the sake of just testing a product to see if this is something I would actually use, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not cheap, but I'm going to be a little bit more conscious of
Yeah.
my spending.
Well, I'm kind of in a weird place with this thing because I don't know how to quite tell her. It's like, yeah, I'm definitely going to be using it. It's
Just don't know
just
when.
yeah, and just don't know when. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, it's untested technology with me. I mean, all I know is what I've seen other people do with it. I have some airbrush experience, but it's been years. And I'm at a point where I'm under such a crunch that it's not like something that I'm very comfortable with that I could just jump in and go, okay, this is going to save the day. There's going to be a learning curve with this, and I'm trying to tell her that it's like I can't take time to learn how to use this new technology right now because I've got paying gigs that need to be finished.
Yeah, I don't have time to experiment on these.
Yeah.
Do you want me to save your relationship?
If well, you got how much time you got?
In 30 seconds or less.
All right, this aspect. Oh, this aspect. Okay.
Yeah. You use water to seal the pencils now, right?
Yeah.
Put in the airbrush.
I'm sorry.
Put water in the airbrush and use that to do a very fine mist for your spray.
Bach. Makes sense.
You can get it very fine, and you can futz around with the airbrush a little bit. So you can be like, look, I used it. Okay, you happy? Go away.
That's a really good. I know. I mean, that actually solves a different problem. Where I mean, I love the fact you told me about that, and I have been doing that quite a bit. But yeah, I have noticed one little setback to it, which is out of a spray bottle, you don't get an even mist, and it tends to shoot out some heavy droplets once in a while.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there just freaking out because all of a sudden you'll have like heavy blobs of water hitting certain areas that maybe you didn't want them to do.
I mean, the cheap airbrushes, they're not consistent flow, but it's going to be a lot more consistent than
the spray bottle.
than spray bottle, than that recycled Windex bottle.
Yeah, I mean, I'm as far as saving the relationship, man, I think we're okay. But actually, that does, as I say, solves another problem I hadn't really thought about. That's great. Thanks, Dre. Thanks, Mean Joe. There's a Pittsburgh reference. I don't know if you'll get it.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm just gonna nod and smile and hope I don't cut myself.
And also, I don't think you're old enough. There was a very famous television commercial for Coca-Cola that had had Mean Joe Green from the Pittsburgh Steelers in it, and he was coming out of a game kind of beat up and tired.
Is that the towel?
Yeah, and the jersey, I think, or I don't know what. Yeah, it's like he threw his jersey at the kid, and the kid's like, "Thanks, Mean Joe."
I think I saw that on The Simpsons.
Yeah, they make fun of it a lot. Let me think about it. Go ahead.
Didn't he make a cameo or multiple cameos on the Bundys, Married with Children?
Possibly. I'll just go with yeah. I'll leave that up to your loyal listeners to confirm or deny.
Just figured you might have been an avid Married with Children fan back in the...
I wasn't. I'll
really?
just flat out admit I was not. No.
Yeah, Mark says it was a jersey. He confirmed it.
I'm sorry.
And Mark confirms it was the jersey that he threw.
Okay. Mark would know. Youngstown guy. He would know. Yeah. Married with Children. And that's kind of funny. I never really.
That was on. Ooh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying. I guess it was. I mean, I understood, but just I don't think I overly appreciated the humor as much as like a lot of people did.
I think a lot of people watched it for other reasons.
Kelly Bundy.
Kelly Bundy, Peggy, but
Yeah.
it really was kind of genius. I mean,
Yeah.
that would never fly today, but
Oh God, no.
I can't remember who had it. Some streaming service had it here, and it didn't have the theme music. And I think maybe it's something that was never licensed for streaming, like that "Love and Marriage" song.
Yeah, I mean, it was they in the show they actually played the Sinatra version, so that might have been a licensing issue with that.
Yeah, so the streaming service just has some weird piano music, which is kind of weird. But
Huh.
watching it now, it's really campy, but like this is actually really conceptually well written. It's stupid jokes and it's a lot of toilet humor.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this is one of those things that's going to go in the history books as really the quintessential 90s TV watching with The Simpsons. And
Well, I always appreciated the fact that it was a deliberate attempt to make characters that it was a challenge to relate to. I mean, you know, you had the Simpsons and they were very flawed, but flawed in a way that, you know, it was very believable, you know, because they were very likable. They all, yeah, no matter what, you could tell they all kind of loved each other, and you know,
Yeah.
they meant well in everything that they did. You know, they weren't always capable of accomplishing it, and they were very, very, you know, very prone to error. But you know, then the Bundys come along, and you know, it was just flat out. You know, what would happen if you had a nightmare family?
yeah,
You know, it's
that
like we're not even
actually
going
love.
to pretend these guys are likable. You know, and the beauty of it was, I noticed, was instead of, you know, making you uncomfortable, they had set it up so that the characters were just such stereotypes. You know, they were so over the top that it was tough to relate to them, that it was tough to say, oh, you know, oh, that's my dad, or that's, you know, that's my sister, you know, but it was, oh yeah, that's the slut in the neighborhood, or, you know, that's the conniving little con artist, or,
Yeah,
you know, that's the shifty dad. And, you know, they were very cartoonish. So therefore, you know, it was easier to sit back and laugh and just mock them, as opposed to, you know, the Simpsons, where, yeah, I mean, you can sit there and laugh along with what Bart did, but the truth was, you know, did you really feel satisfied if something really horrible happened to Bart? No, you wouldn't. You know, and you know, you really sort of sympathized with them in certain areas, and it happened with a lot of sitcoms. It's like, you know, you think about it, like All in the Family, or um, Married with Children, or not Married with Children, or like Friends, or oh God, what was the one?
well, Friends was. I mean, I think what
Paul
made
Reiser.
Friends Mad About You.
Mad About You, yeah.
I mean, the thing with Friends was it was so relatable for a whole generation. It still
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, to the point where I think a lot of us forget some of the really absurd jokes. I mean, some of the really funny jokes they had in there that were over the top, that, you know, we just sort of like go, oh yeah, we would have done that. Like, no, you wouldn't have. Nobody would have. You know, I mean, if if you're if your girlfriend busted you watching porn one night, do you think she'd automatically assume you get sexually aroused by watching sharks? I mean, you know, that was a great gag. Yeah, but I don't know. but I just thought, yeah, I'm with you though. I think Married with Children had its genius to it in the fact that it recognized that we could just go over the top here and people will love us. It was like that. It's like Jerry Springer science. Yeah. We're not culture. We're not really respectable, but do we care?
Yeah. It's and it's kind of funny. Like Kathy Segal.
Uh-huh. Katie Sewell. Yeah.
Yeah. She's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think to a certain degree that show might have hurt her career. Because I don't see her couldn't see her doing anything serious at that time or right after the show ended, right?
Well, it took a little while.
It took a while, but then Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
And
But okay, I hear this one a lot with a lot of character or with a lot of actors, but I kind of think about it and relate it to like what we do. We get pigeonholed too. It's like even if it might just be two or three people, but we'll do enough pieces and people go, oh, okay, this is how Dre draws, and this is what Dre does. Yeah. So if you want this specific thing, then you go to Dre, and that's great. And you can create a market out of that and do really, really well with that. But now, say suddenly you're like, well, yeah, but I kind of want to be an impressionist, or I want to do something a little bit more experimental, or I want to get into more digital.
What?
Sorry?
I said bondage.
or that. or that. Yeah, you're gonna find resistance. And how is that going to affect you? And I'm going to take the controversial stand and say, actually, I think it's better for you to face that and kind of bristle when people say, well, it hurt their career. Like, I don't think it did, because no matter what, they can fall back and go, hey, she was Peggy Bundy.
Yeah. Yeah, you can always go back and do that, right?
She's always going to have somebody recognize her name because she's Peggy Bundy. Even whether she's going in to play Ophelia, people are going to go, wow, that's Katie Bundy, or that's Peg Bundy. But somebody along the way is going to maybe want to take a chance, when the opportunity does come along, and go, well, it's been so long, and she's still looking for work. Maybe there's something to this. Mm-hmm. And they say, hey, you want to play a biker mama?
Yeah. Didn't hurt that her husband directed the show, but
that is true. Well, there is that. I forgot about that. Yeah. I did forget about that. Oh well.
But hey, look, she was my understanding was that she was heavily involved with that show.
Yeah. Well, why not?
Concept. I mean.
Yeah, and why not? A lot of times, if you do want to break out of your stereotype, you might need some help to do that.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, why do you think I'm on here talking to you right now? I mean, I like your company, but why am I just not talking? Why am I just not just hanging out? It's because I kind of want to show what I can do to people who've never seen it before.
All two of them.
All two of them. And actually, you know what? Let's be honest. This gives me a chance also to be a little more experimental. Now, I don't have to get on here and go, oh yeah, another freaking pinup art with a circle background and rendered pencil, that kind of shit. No, I can get on here and say, I think I want to do a water. I'm going to do pastels, or I can do whatever I want.
Your sound went really, really soft, and your video froze.
Yeah, because I got somebody calling in. Yeah, hated to do that, but I had to hang up on them. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, well, you're back.
How much? All right. Yeah, it was the phone calling. No.
This is killing my fingers.
Actually, I'm getting reminded by the dogs. I'm going to have to wrap this up.
Yeah. What time is it? Went for 3.5, almost 4 hours.
It's still early for them. God, they get so impatient. I usually let them out between 4 and 5. But they're funny. They're so spoiled and smart. So they're like kids. They start figuring out, hey, we can push it a little bit. So they'll start acting like, oh, we really got to go. And it's like, it's 2 o'clock. I know better.
Just let me out. Daylight savings time.
I
My dog.
really got to go.
My dog really won't eat her dinner until I come home. So if I come home at 5 on a weekday, she's goes to her bowl. Where's my food? If I come home at 10 o'clock at night, she'll go to her bowl. Where's my food? So a lot of times when I'm coming late, I'll text Pam like, "Hey, I'm gonna be a while. Just feed Scully." She won't eat.
Huh.
And then, like on the weekends, if I'm just home, like yesterday, I just did all my shopping in the morning. I was just watching stupid movies throughout the day. It's like 8 o'clock at night. She didn't get off the couch to eat. Then I went outside to give the ducks water. Came back in. Where's my food?
Yeah. Where's my food? It is funny. They get into a rut, and this actually reminds me, and it kind of ties in a couple of things. Good TV worth watching. Talking about Disney again. On Disney Plus in the Pixar section, they put on a show, and I don't know when they added it, but it's just a couple of shorts from Pixar. And one of the ones they added was, I think it was like a little 6-episode run of a show called Doug Days. And it's the dog from Up.
Okay. Oh,
and the
squirrel.
old guy. Yeah, squirrel.
Yeah.
I know a funny joke. The joke is there once was a squirrel, and he did not have enough nuts for winter, so he died. The joke is funny because the squirrel is dead. Yes, very much like that. So they actually did a limited show pretty much just like that. And it's Carl and Doug. They've this is after Up, they've sold the blimp. Carl bought a new house, and it's just him and Doug. Now, the episodes aren't that complex. It's just pretty much adventures with Doug. And they play it up like as they did in the movie. Like, what would a real dog do? I mean, literally, the opening shot is Doug waking up in the morning and running around yelling, "I am awake, so everyone else must be awake." And there's one episode where he's walking along and he sniffs a fire hydrant. And the funny thing on this episode was it's called Smell. The episode's called Smell. So every time Doug smells something, you see it the way he does, which is like this little visual icon comes floating at him of what it is. It's like, oh, there's a cat, there is a squirrel, there is a hot dog, and he sniffs this fire hydrant, and you start seeing these dogs' faces start like floating at him, and he's naming them. It's like, oh, there is Fido, there is Fifi. And then there's this little boy's face. And he goes, "Timmy Johnson, you should not be here."
Jeez.
And Michelle and I we binge watched this thing. It's not very hard because they're really short, but we loved it so much. It was like, this is what we needed. We never saw anything so wonderful on TV in a long time. And a lot of it is because if you're a dog owner or a dog lover,
you can relate.
Every bit of it, every single bit. It's like all the best gags from Up that involve the dogs, and they just put it into a TV show.
It's like dogs are. And sorry, Mark said his dog ran off at 3:30 a.m. He was up all night in a blizzard, basically looking for him. Then he shows up 3 hours later, like nothing happened.
Yeah, they do that. I'm
What?
glad he found him. I'm glad he found him. I'm glad he got him back.
It's just, I mean, if you're a dog owner, you know, and I know you are, and by the sounds of it, so is Mark. They are
Good.
such um, strange creatures, in the most wonderful way, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I had two dogs, and then had to put one of them down, and
Oh, I'm sorry.
a couple months ago. Thanks, but she was the younger one, and we'd go to bed, and they sleep on the bed with us, and they have their blanket, and they curl up on the blanket, they get all comfortable, and this one, Pebbles, every night, turn off the lights, whatever. A couple minutes later, she'd need to go off the bed. She'd go all over the house, just check everything out, and come back,
Hmm.
right? And then we'll go
Right,
to bed, right?
right.
You know, just making sure everything's okay. It's like, okay, whatever. I kind of got accustomed to it, and it's just like, okay, can you go check on everything so I can go to bed? So, you know, she got sick, and we had to put her down. And Scully, my other one, now she started doing that.
Huh.
She didn't do it before. She just curl up, but now she'll get comfortable. She kind of hang out for a bit, and then she'll start
Wow.
walking me. I gotta put her down, and I put her down, and she goes, doesn't go do anything. She just walks around the house and comes back, pick me up, go to bed. And it's just like, like before, did Pebbles go check, come back up, and say everything's okay, let's go to bed? Like in dog smell or something? Like I don't understand it, right?
Yeah. Well, they do teach each other. It,
Yeah,
and you know, I've just we've discovered that quite well. Cisco. I mean, even weird things like Cisco. He's a pit, so you know he's got the broader face and he's got the wider head and everything. And I noticed, you know, from when he first when he first came here, the dog would smile. You know, when he would get happy or relaxed or something, he would hit you. And you've seen this with pits. You know, they
yeah,
smile.
they smell. Yeah,
Yeah. So we picked up Dee Dee, and Dee Dee's a hound dog. Now she's, I mean, not saying her face isn't broad, but it's a lot more narrow. It's more of a, you know, traditional dog face. She's a blackmouth hound from Alabama hound, they call them. So she's got more of the traditional dog face, you know. So, and I noticed too, is like, you know, she wouldn't, you know, she'd be happy. She was just like a dog, but you know, you wouldn't see her smile like that. And we were always kind of laughing at, oh yeah, Cisco smiles. You know, and we would always take it for granted that Dee Dee didn't. I'll be damned if she didn't start smiling.
yeah, it's weird.
And it just started happening. And all we can figure is she picked it up off of him. And even though she's more of the dominant one, she bosses him around like crazy. And she's the one, she does like your dog would do. She likes to get up and patrol. and when Michelle, she will follow Michelle everywhere, and she follows me around everywhere too. It's like if you get up and like you're heading towards the door, she will walk you to the door. It's not like she wants out. She will walk you to the door just to make sure you're safe. And she always has to check in on you to see where you're at. You know, it's not like she hovers around you, but she just kind of checks in on you all the time.
Yeah,
But he started now doing that too an awful lot, where he's now kind of becoming more vigilant about things going on outside because she's been doing it.
yeah, so strange.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're really social. They pick stuff up, and I mean, I'll tell you, they save my sanity so many times. Like, you know, working at home, I don't even think I'd want to be in this house if it wasn't for them. But as much as they drive me crazy, they really are good company. You know, just things like, you know, I've had days where I've just been like so damn down on everything, and I don't want to finish anything, and I'm just kind of like sitting there just staring at a piece, going, I don't know what I'm going to do. And all of a sudden, I feel this bump, and I'll look over, and there's Dee Dee with a toy in her mouth, and she's just nudging me with it, you know, wagging her tail, and just for the simple reason of, it's like, you know, here, you know, I saw you were sad, so I brought you my toy.
Look at my toy. You can't have it. Just look at it.
Yeah. Oh, when we left to go fly off to go see Michelle's family, they get, of course, really depressed when they know we're packing up our bags. So we're getting ready to leave in the morning, and all of a sudden Michelle starts going, "Oh!" And I said, "What happened?" Dee Dee got up and got her favorite toy and put it in Michelle's purse.
Yeah, that's what they do.
And you're like, How do you even respond to that? Oh, yeah, they're wonderful, man. They really are. And on that note, I better go keep them wonderful and keep them from peeing and pooping in the house.
Cool. Well, thanks for amusing me.
Thanks for having me, man. It's been fun.
Pleasure.
We got to do it again.
You got it.
All right, man. Thanks again. You have a good day,
All right.
man.
Yeah, you too.
Bye. All right,
See you
bye.
later. Bye. Yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up too. There's only so much people can watch me cut paper, I guess. This sucks. Cool. If anyone wants, Mark, thanks for being a trooper. I don't know who else is watching, but it looks like somebody else is watching. But thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. And enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Bye.